There's no audio. Yeah.
What the heck? Okay, it should be good now. I have no... Okay. Yeah, for some reason, OBS is really playing tricks on me lately. I have no idea why, but both my audio and Jay's audio were muted in the two-person overlay scene that I have in OBS. Why would those ever be muted?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know, man. User error. I'm going to put it down to user error.
It wasn't me. I've never... I don't think I've ever muted myself in OBS. I have no idea why they just happened to be muted when I opened it up. I think it was you. I think it was you. Because now that you're in the same Streamlabs OBS, I don't know, man. I was going through my solo build stream seed, and you got all sorts of stuff in there. I'm just going to blame it all on you.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, I see how it is. I see it.
I mean, I'm American, so obviously I don't make mistakes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Hey, man. I did not vote for Donald Trump. Just throwing that out there.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Alright, guys. How does the audio sound to everyone? Everything sound good? Everything sound equal? Hopefully.
Yeah, can you hear both of us? Are we both loud and clear? Brian's not muting me again this week, is he, guys?
Yeah, I have. I'm gonna always mute you, and, like, I'm just gonna ignore everyone that notices.
And Tyson there with the tier 1 sub 2 months in a row. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it, dude.
Heck yeah. Gucci? Okay. Gucci is good. Gucci is good. Hopefully the Discord bot isn't sick today.
Yeah, it's not pinged yet, I don't think.
No, it's usually 5 to like 15 minutes in that range.
Up to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We need a better bot. I am going to have a look at that.
Yeah.
Sort it out. We need to have a look at the Nightbot as well.
So much stuff to do. I put Nightbot on. I just haven't really done any like custom work with it yet. But I think Nightbot.
Just realised on the overlay, Brian, as well. The subs showing up is going behind the sponsor logos.
Oh, I only have so much space to work with, man. Let me.
I see Sashimi. Thank you very much for the tier 1 sub, man. 6 months in a row now, and he says this sub brought to you by the Ansi gang. Well, okay, I won't go there. There's no ISO bashing on this.
I'm gonna. Okay, maybe this will work. I'm gonna in real time. I'm gonna rearrange the overlay. Maybe this will be a little bit better.
Yeah, that looks good. That works.
Is that better? I don't know why I haven't done that earlier. It looks... I don't know. It looks funky no matter what I do. There's not enough space on this overlay to do everything anymore.
Yeah, it looks better... it looks better like that than it did before covering it up anyway.
You guys are getting the live, real-time Top Clack experience before the show, behind the scenes.
This is what it's like every week, guys. Literally, we spend
this is where your sub dollars are going. Oh, man. That's terrible.
Sashimi saying he's going to drop tons of music tonight. That's good, man, because I've got a lot of train journeys coming up the next week, so if you're going to drop a lot of links into secret chat, then take a look. So
into Prupple chat, what I like to call it.
Yeah. What's that? I didn't know that existed. What's that?
First rule: you don't talk about it.
Oh, it looks like the bot's finally pinged. There we go.
Hey, there we go. The holiest of pandas also subs with a tier 1 sub. Appreciate that, man.
Nice, dude. Nice.
That's a better spot for the overlay. Okay, I'll leave it like that, I guess. That way everyone can see everything.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll still wait a couple minutes before we officially start. It's not 6 yet, so
yeah.
We're just kind of chilling. You know, people coming in, joining the gang.
Yeah. Hey guys that are joining us, welcome to the stream.
KB Warriors, hello to you as well. Thank you for joining us today.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you guys are ready for a lot of news.
Oh man, this week's news doc.
This is one of the fullest news docs we've had in quite some time.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of stuff there this week.
A lot of really interesting stuff.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, all of you that are just joining us now.
Yeah, I see some of the EU crowd out there as well. Vomindoran, hey man, good to see you. News full of pandas, or pandas full of news. Yeah, it's there's a little bit of panda news in there, a little bit.
The war rages on.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and Mountain Blocks has just subscribed with a tier 1 sub as well. 3 months in a row. Thank you very much. Ahoy to you too.
Ahoy! Oh, I totally forgot. When is National Talk Like a Pirate Day? Because I feel like I always miss it, and it always bums me out.
I've no idea. It must be really obvious though. It must Pirate Day. Like, something to do with pirate.
September 19th. It'll be
what?
Yeah. Okay. Man. Okay. I missed it. Still got a little while. Oh, that's a bummer. I love that day. Good evening to you as well, Cyber Sam.
Yeah, Bug Whisper's got a quick question. Even though it's January, do you think the spectre of Lunar New Year is going to drag out lots of group buy players? I think a lot of group buys are actually trying to run either before or after Chinese New Year, so I think most things will be alright. Some things will get affected, they always do. I think that.
Yeah. Rumai says, let's hope it's not a Thursday. It's a Thursday, boys. September 19th, National Pirate Day for 2019 is a Thursday.
Brian, if we don't dress up, there's something wrong. We need to have outfits for them.
We should probably do accents too. It'll be like the worst. It'll be the worst show in history, and somehow it'll be like our record live viewer count or something.
Probably, yeah.
That's usually how that kind of stuff works.
Yeah, look at these two fools making fun of themselves. Yeah.
Oh boy.
If we did a meet up that week, you could be the pirate and I could be the monkey on your shoulder, considering you're a giant bird.
Oh, man. Starson says Jay with an eye patch. All right, so you'll get an eye patch. I'll get a bottle of rum.
Wait, can I have rum as well?
No.
That doesn't sound fair.
No. Of course you can't have rum. I get rum.
What if I make the eye patch the shape of an ISO enter?
That would be pretty great, actually. You really should. All right, you can have the rum. I'll have the parrot.
Okay.
Oh man, we really need to remember this. I'm leaving it to you guys in chat to remind us before September 19th, when that's getting closer, that we need to do this, because this could totally be done. This could totally be a lot of fun.
Yeah, let us know, guys. Do keep us on top of this.
All right. Now is probably a good time to get things underway. So let me hit you with that intro.
Okay, guys, and welcome to this week's episode of Top Clack. It is the 18th of January. I am Jay, and we also have Brian Quakums, who is our... he's going to be the co-host today. Do you know what? This week, I'm doing the intro. I'm the main host. He's the co-host. This is how we're going to...
I thought things were going to be equal here, but you're laying down the law.
Yeah, so welcome to the show this week, guys. We've got an absolutely stacked news document to talk you through this week. There's going to be a lot of links, a lot of bits going on. We've got a ton of panda news, or the Holy War, as some people have been calling it. Lots of switches, lots of boards, all sorts of stuff to talk through, and we may even have a bit of a giveaway later on as well. But let's see how that goes.
That's right. But just in true fashion, we'll kick it off with a little bit of a mail call before we roll on to the news doc, because sometimes people are interested in stuff like that.
Yeah, what have you had this week, Brian?
Okay, no, I did get something. I lied. I think I got one thing. Hold on. The payoff's worth it. Just trust me. I got these. So I got the Nutcrackers, which
nice.
should have been called D's, because that's way better. And for those of you that might not be aware, I'm actually I'm working on a comparison between lots of different switch openers and also some videos revolving around that. So I got a bunch of new switch openers in. I'm going to be testing those out side by side. But these, pretty cool, actually. They look very, very nice, and they work fairly well. So happy about that. Shout out to Lewis for sending me these.
Nice, nice.
That was all I got this week. What about you, Jay?
I only got one thing this week as well, which is a Alpha Smart 3000. So I'll show you guys. But it's actually been converted to be a mechanical keyboard. So it's designed to be, originally it was designed to be like a distraction-free writing device. But back from the main Discord server, he's kindly produced some PCBs to make them all MX switch compatible. So I'm going to have fun converting that over in a couple of weeks. Probably do a bit of a paint job on it, make it tarted up a little bit, and yeah, use it for a distraction-free writing device. That's it. That's all I've had this week.
We had pretty minimal weeks, and I actually lied. I got GMK Space Cadet in. Don't know when I'm going to put it on yet, though.
Oh, just have a look at that whole GMK set.
It's just a GMK set, guys. Don't worry. Yeah, not entirely sure what I'm going to put it on yet. I'm thinking my TX 60, which currently has Cat Alpha, but I'm going to be boxing that up tonight for you, Jay, to send out so you can try it out. So I'll need a set for that. And Space Cadet is looking promising. So, cool. Bam. That's actually what I got. Brick Cubed, thank you very much for the Twitch Prime sub, 8 months in a row. It says, I thank you for the great content. You're welcome. Getting ready for September. Man, that's going to be an awful episode, but you won't want to miss it.
It's going to be a terrible episode, but it's going to be amazing at the same time. And Nathan came in the chat as well, telling me to give him one of my JER boards. I haven't even got the proto yet, man. Let me get the prototype first.
All right. So
without to move into the news doc?
Yeah, I think that's probably wise because we have a very full news doc today. So let's start with that, shall we?
Cool. Okay, first link's going in the chat now, guys.
All right, let's go. So first up, we have the group buy for the Fusion 60. The Fusion 60. So this is a $230 kit that does come with a PCB, and you have quite a bit of choices for the price. Actually, there's a lot going on here. So you have your layout choice between standard, HHKB, and Win keyless. You have a plethora of colors, as you can see here on screen. And you get your choice of kind of like a finish look on the brass weight between matte and mirror. These are sold out as of now, though. I guess they were limited.
Yeah, so just in terms of rest of the board, there was also an 8-degree angle on it. Brass plate as standard. Supports most standard 60 PCBs, but comes with a QMK as well. But you're right to call out on the units. I think there's a bit of consternation. So I was speaking with Vulcan earlier the week, and he'd originally asked Wei to want to run this as a 50 spot group buy. But during the actual launch, I think Wade misunderstood and thought he meant 50 units for each option. So 50 units for the standard black, 50 units for the standard grey, for the HHKB purple, all of that kind of stuff. So there was like 720 units on offer. Wade misunderstood something. So I think it actually closed at just over the 50 units. I think it closed at around 60 units like that. So a little bit of consternation, a bit of chat back on it, but it's interesting. It looks like a great board, to be honest. I'm kind of sad that I didn't jump on it.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer that I was so limited. Also, Jay, adjust your noise gate just a couple more. You're still breaking up just a little bit. But
got you.
Cool. So yeah, at $230, it's really, really, really quite a price for what you get, honestly, which has been pretty much true to form when it comes to KBDfans and what they've been offering.
Mm-hmm.
And this, it's a bummer that it was so limited because this really is a nice looking board at a really good price. This would have sold, I think this would have sold easily like 300 plus units.
Oh yeah, it would have been,
if not like 4
massive.
or 5.
Yeah, yeah. One of the interesting things about it as well is the actual PCB design. So to get that really tailored look for the LEDs on the RGB LEDs on the sides, you actually have to break off 2 almost daughter boards on the side of the main PCB and move them out on wires. So it could be quite a difficult build for some beginners. I'm not sure that was quite the easiest way to make the design, but
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see how someone does build it, and if someone does a build video or something like that, or if anyone's got one and they want one building, I'd love to take a crack at how these are put together.
Yeah. Yep. So here we got a couple specs for you. It is a high-profile top mount, 8-degree angle. Case is aluminum, of course, and the weight and the plate are brass. So pretty normal stuff seeing here. Weight is pretty good, 2 kilograms, which is 4.4 pounds for all you freedom people out there. And the PCB is QMK, and it does come with stabilizers and free shipping. So $230, man. This is one of the better value kits I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, price is really good on this. Really strong price as well. And if WoW keeps up the quality that we've seen recently in the Tofu and the KBD67, this is going to be a killer board. Absolutely fantastic for the price, I think.
Yeah, I almost wonder if this is going to run again.
I don't know. We should reach out to Vulcan and ask him and see what he says, because if it is going to run again, I'll definitely jump on it next time.
Choconaut in chat says Vulcan said he's already planning to do an R2, which is pretty smart. Why do you think it was so limited? It's running through KBDfans, so we can probably surmise here that KBDfans is handling the distribution themselves.
Yep. And the production. Yeah.
And KBDfans has shown in the past that they can do a pretty darn good job of that. So I wonder why the limitation there, when I think it's pretty obvious that KBDfans probably could have handled much more than 50 units on this group buy.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think what I might do is reach out to Vulcan and just have a chat with him about R2 and why the limits were in place. I'm not sure if he decided the limit before he'd signed with Wei. I don't know if that's how he'd done it, or if he just wanted it to be quite limited in the first place. I'm not sure, but either way, I'm dead interested to see one of these boards. I think the weight design as well is really spot on. I really like the design of the weight.
Yep. Most definitely. So I would tell you guys to jump on this, but clearly you can't because it's sold out. Because they reached that limit really quick, too. I think that was only, like 2 days or something?
It wasn't even that. It was a matter of hours. It was really quick. I think it was within 12 hours. So Choconaut's just posted, the reason we limit the first round is to make sure the quality meets our requirements, because if we collect many orders now and the quality is different from the prototype, that means we have to fix a lot of cases. It costs a lot of money. Okay, so it's almost like a test round. Okay.
I mean, that makes sense, but that's also true of like every group buy ever.
It is, yeah.
Just because your prototype is, and we've seen this multiple times in the past, just because a prototype comes out well doesn't mean everything's going to come out well. The X60, great example of that. Prototypes were great, and then the group buy, the manufacturer busted up all the cases. So, you never really know what's going to happen, and I think that kind of just goes for everything. But I mean, KBDfans obviously has ties to a lot of manufacturers. I'm surprised, especially with this price, that they're not the ones handling who's manufacturing it as well.
Yeah, that is interesting. Again, maybe it's something we need to ask Vulcan and see if we can get a bit of clarity on it. But either way, the board looks great, and I'm dead psyched to see these hit people's hands and people start to build these out, because they look great. And if the quality's there for the price, then this is the winner if it runs again.
Absolutely. Talisman Solutions donates his signature 1,111 bits. Says, tip top Clack. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Cheers, dude.
All right, moving on. The next bit of news we have is a pretty interesting keyboard for pre-order. I'm probably going to butcher this name, so sorry in advance to all the people that actually know how to pronounce this. The Morgrie Rie 60% wireless, low-pro mechanical keyboard. So this hit Z Frontier very recently, and at a price of $115. I'm going to show you guys some renders here while Jay runs down the specs.
Yeah, so it's high profile on the switches, but it's low profile for a mechanical keyboard, being only 18mm tall, which is fairly low. It supports the Kale chock switches as well. Bluetooth comes as standard with physical buttons to swap between 3 devices, so you can have it paired to multiple machines. So if you want it on your laptop, on your PC, and things like that, you can do that. And you can have it either flat or at a 3.5-degree angle, which is it's not particularly tall, but for a travel board, it looks like a pretty much of a winner here.
Yeah, it honestly looks pretty good, in my opinion. The layout is maybe a little funky. It's like they definitely wanted to use HHKB blockers, but they really wanted 3 keys on the right side of that spacebar and normal backspace.
Yeah,
So...
the only thing that does worry me, it looks like the stagger's slightly incorrect as well for the bottom right. It looks like the stagger's even all the way down the Q, A, and Z keys, whereas on most boards the bottom rows are another 0.25 U to the right. So the stagger looks a little bit off, but other than that, I think this looks like a great little travel board, to be honest.
Yeah, totally. The price looks pretty reasonable too. $115 for a
for a Bluetooth CNC'd aluminium board. That's pretty good, to be honest.
Yep, and the keycaps are actually PBT die sub as well, so that's kind of interesting. Type C, very nice.
Yep, USB Type C, and I also think they've got a numpad as well coming as well. So they've got a numpad and a switch tester that matches the keyboard as well.
Yes, they do. So, there's a little picture of that numpad. I guess that's a numpad. This is quite an interesting design. So
yeah, right down at the very bottom of the page, there's the numpad and the switch tester.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I can see that. That's interesting. Huh. Very interesting. Might have to actually get one of these, to be totally honest. Just because the price,
something I'd like to.
The price is low enough to just be like, let's try that out and see what happens.
Why not? Why not? Yeah, I mean, in terms of the switch choice, there isn't much. There's only the white, brown, and red Kale Chalk switches choice, but that kind of covers all bases, I guess.
Yeah, you get a linear,
board.
clicky, tactile. Fair enough.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been looking for a Bluetooth board for my iPad, so this might be exactly what I've been looking for, to be honest, especially for the price.
Yeah. So the estimated shipping time here is June of this year, so about 5 months away from now. This price does not include shipping, so we don't know how much shipping is going to be on this, but I imagine it can't be too bad. And obviously shipping may be delayed because of manufacturing. Pretty normal pre-order / group buy stuff going on there.
Yeah, covering all the bases completely makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. So we'll have to try to get one of these for testing and see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to see one.
All right, let's move on next to the JER Mini, which was kind of a surprise to a lot of us, me in particular. I did not see this coming.
Yeah, full disclosure, I love this. I bought one, so yeah, this is fantastic. It's right on my street.
Awesome.
So yeah, just to cover it out, 65% layout with macro column on the left-hand side, supports ANSI and ISO layouts. Only 10 pieces, but it comes in the special pale white finish by Alpha Studio. Now, I have reached out to Frosty Love. Apparently, the board will be run again in different colours, not again in this white colour. This is only for these first 10 boards. It comes with a grey anodised aluminium plate, and it comes with a programmable PCB, which is boot mapper, and then the weight is engraved with. It says it's copper in the IC, but after chatting to him, I think it's just that the Chinese language for copper and brass is very similar, but it's actually a brass weight, not copper. So slightly misleading, but I think it's just language barrier.
Interesting. Well, it definitely looks like a pretty epic board. It is only limited to 10 units, is that what you were saying? Yeah,
so this is 10 units in this colour. It's going to run again in the future in other colours, but it won't be running the white again. So this is the kind of precursor to the full run. But these are in hand, they're on stock boards. They're not. It's not a group buy as such, it's already produced. So I'm waiting for that now.
Right on. All right, looking pretty nice. One thing I did notice that's kind of interesting. So it's a special pale white, quote-unquote, finish by Alpha Studio. It's a brand new white anodizing procedure exclusive from Alpha Studio. So that kind of caught my attention because traditionally, it's kind of generally accepted that you can't anodize white. It kind of just turns up as like a very light silver, not really a white. So I'm curious what this new process is that Alpha is doing to get the pale white finish via anodization.
So I've had a chat with them about this before on different boards with Alpha Direct, and it's not anodizing as such. It's actually a type of electronic plating. So it's very, very similar to anodizing, but it's a bit of a different process. Not quite the same, but it is more robust than standard anodization as well. So compared to the white TX boards, for example, where it's just a powder coat, these should be a little bit more robust and a lot more scratch resistant as well. So I'm really interested to see it as soon as I get hold of it, which should be in the next couple of weeks. I'm hoping I get it before Chinese New Year. I'll be doing a build stream of this ASAP because I can't wait to get ordered.
Awesome.
And have a play with it.
Cool. So during the group buy, it was the very limited group buy. It was $329 plus shipping plus 4% fee, which for a custom like this is relatively reasonably priced, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, shipping was expensive though. $75 I think it was for me to the UK. So
yeah.
It wasn't exactly the cheapest shipping, but yeah, it's understandable. It's understandable.
Yeah, so you should be in Korea where it's only $30 shipping.
Yeah, well, there we go.
Totally worth it to move, just for keyboards. Totally worth it.
Yeah, move to save $40. Move halfway around the world to save $40.
All right, so we'll have to stay tuned for the update to get the other colors and hopefully a less limited group buy.
Yeah, the only slight issue I have with the board, and this is very, very minimal, and this is me being really picky because I have bought and paid for one, is the indicator LEDs just being on the left-hand side where the blocker is. It's kind of going to be under your palm for a lot of typing uses, you know, where your hand's going to rest naturally on the board. Kind of you're going to hide those LEDs with your hands. So that's the only slight issue I've got with it. But other than that, I think it's great.
Yeah, that actually totally makes sense. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Some people in chat asking if it's MAO. It's not MAO. It's completely different. It's a type of electroplating, not MAO finish or anything like that. It is very, very different. And pale white is a misspelling of pearl white. Vomidorin, you're right. Pearl white is correct.
Oh, okay. Translation issue then.
Yeah. He said pearl white in the email he sent me when we were talking about this earlier on today. So.
Gotcha. All right. Let's move on to the interest check for the Salamander, which is kind of interesting that this was just posted, because didn't they just do a Western run of the Salamander not that long ago?
I don't think it was a Western run. I think it was a Taobao Open run, if I remember correctly. So you could join technically if you're from the West, but it was a little bit more difficult than if you were. It wasn't specifically focused on the West. Let's put it that way.
Okay, interesting. So it looks like, I mean, he calls this an interest check, but he sounds pretty confident that this is going to run. Yeah,
I think rather than a traditional interest check, this is like, guys, get ready because we're going to run this more than anything. It's not an interest check is to gather feedback. It's more of a get the community hype. I think that's their stance on this one.
Yep. And looking through some of the pictures here, I've actually built a Salamander in the past. Nathan Kim let me borrow his for a little bit to try out a couple things and check out the board. Personally, if I'm being honest, I didn't really care for it that much, but you know, that could just be me. It is a very nice and elegant looking TKL, and there is a polycarbonate version as well, so for you people that are into that.
Yeah, just looking down the specs list, as you say, aluminium and polycarbonate options, includes a Liku PCB, the TX87, and the TX bag, which isn't too bad. The bags are lovely, actually. It's sandwich mount, 7-degree slope, 7mm thick brass weight, polished, or you can have a stainless steel one as well. It comes in black, silver, red, blue, champagne gold, rose gold, pink, purple, and hard brown grey, which is a slightly different type of anodization, is the hard anodization. And then you can have your plate in 4 different types. So you can have a carbon fibre, PVC white, so PVC plastic, PVC black, and then stainless steel as well. So interesting that there's no brass or aluminium option for the plate. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, and the one that I built and tried actually used the PBT plate, and I really wasn't a fan of it.
Okay, interesting.
It almost felt like it just didn't even exist. So that was pretty interesting to me.
Was it just a 1.5mm PBT plate?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Just looking at the price on this one, $410. Alu and poly are the same price, which is for the board, the weight, plate, the bag, and the PCB. Shipping fees, fairly reasonable on the shipping fees, $40 to Asia, $63 to the EU and Canada, and $75 to the US. So it's a little bit spendy on the US side, but not too bad on the rest of the world front. given you've had a play with one of these boards, Brian, what do you think's the price?
I would not buy one of these personally. I thought it was a fine board. It was all right. But there wasn't really anything that interesting going on to me other than the fact that you could get PBT or PVC plates, which I thought was the most interesting part, but turns out I didn't really care for them anyways, so I wouldn't get one of these, but it's an okay TKL. I would if I were to pay this kind of money for a TKL, I'd rather get something like the number 1. I'd rather get something like the TGR Jane or Jane V2, something like that. I think there are better options for me, at least, on the market.
Sure, yeah. That makes sense. One of the things that does jump out at me as well is rather than do the normal group buy precautions saying be wary of this, guys, they've kind of followed in the number 1 and key cult theme, and actually come out with a proper disclaimer on this one as well. So they said the colours might be slightly different, maybe some damage during processing or delivery, scratches and very small marks might exist. Top and bottom colours might be slightly different, all sorts of things like that. I'm not sure if they're going to be present in the board, or if that's just covering themselves to make sure that if there is any issues, that people aren't going to complain too much. But I kind of guess it's just the standard group buy rules, buyer beware, and all of that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, all the normal caveat emptor kind of stuff. Group buys are not always perfect. In fact, they rarely are. So that's kind of, unfortunately, that's kind of just how group buys go until we find better ways and get better with manufacturing and better relationships with everyone, including the manufacturers. Sometimes things just don't work out perfectly, and that's pretty normal. If you've joined a lot of group buys in this hobby, you're probably very, very aware of that. Yeah,
and I think that's part of it, isn't it? Yeah, it's one of those risks that by joining the group buy, you're going to accept that, whether it's this group buy or another one. These guys just happen to be calling it out in advance and letting you know that might happen. The same as number 1 did and Key Cult did with the number 1 65 and 60 a couple of weeks ago on the show.
All right. And just a quick note.
Calling out and saying Jane for $410. I think he's. I think that. Yeah, I'm not sure you get a Jane for that price these days. But
well, no, not. I mean, what was the Jane in the group buy? It was around there, right? Like 450, maybe
470, 475, something like that. I think.
Yeah. The OP actually does say a comment following up saying, "I am sorry, my friends, I am not good at English. There seems to be some misunderstanding. Temporary price measurement due to small amount of progress. It will be cheaper. Thank you for your valuable time." So maybe you'll get a price reduction here.
Okay,
so we'll have to see about that.
Yeah, we'll have to. Yeah, let's see what happens when it comes to the group buy. We'll cover it whenever it comes up for the group buy, anyway, guys.
Yeah,
we'll keep
certainly. Yep. Anyways, that is the Salamander interest check. Make sure you show interest for that if this is your thing.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of people's things, this next topic is my thing. I have been so hyped for the Leaf 60, and admittedly, I actually already joined it last night. That's how hyped I am about the Leaf 60. So let's talk about this group buy, because this just opened up yesterday. Yeah, the 16th. Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah.
Well, for me it was yesterday. For you it was 2 days ago.
For you it was yesterday. For me it was the day before that. Yeah.
You're in the future, so.
I am. Yeah. It's Friday here.
Yep. Anyway, so we covered the interest check a little while back. Very nice looking 60% at a pretty reasonable price. It does feature gasket mount. Via a sandwich design, and there's quite a plethora of options, to say the least. So,
HKB, wing keyless, Alps PCB and plate options, hot swap PCB. What else is there? The colours. You can do E-white, which is the electroplated white, so it should be very similar to the JER board that we saw earlier on in terms of the actual finish. E-black and E-red. Mao white, which we all know is kind of a greyish coloured tinge, anodized yellow, purple, clear polycarbonate, and then the really interesting one is opaque black polycarbonate as well, which I'm kind of interested in.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of options here. It took me about 2 hours to settle on what configuration I wanted, and Yeah, so black polycarbonate, sorry, is something we haven't really seen much of, if any, in the keyboard community. So
Nope.
that's pretty cool to see, and I did admittedly get a black PC plate to try out because I knew I wanted a polycarbonate plate, and I figured why not get the black one because it seems interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so you have lots of color options. You have, of course, the top options like Jay mentioned. And gasket mount price for the default kit was $275 US, and that excludes PayPal fee and shipping. PayPal fee usually about 4 to 5%, depending on who it is. And then yeah. So one thing I was a little bummed about was the brass option pricing. So I thought, because of the interest check, I might have been wrongly led to believe, but I was led to believe that you could get, you know, the polycarbonate version with the brass options at starting at $275, and that made me really excited because I was like, hey, brass weight, brass plate, polycarbonate, $275 starting price, like, sign me up. But it turns out you have to pay a fair amount extra to upgrade to any of these brass parts or anything. So I actually forewent those on my order, just to try to keep things a little bit cheaper. But to upgrade to a brass weight will cost you another $45. Upgrade to a brass plate will cost you $37. And that kind of bummed me out. And if you want those gold PVD finish, it's going to cost you an extra $12 per part as well.
Yeah, so you're talking nearly $100 to upgrade yourself to all brass and have a PVD finish. Yeah, it is a fair amount extra. I can kind of see why you didn't pick that. But at least you didn't pick the full brass option where the whole board is made of brass. That's $560. Which, to be honest, for a full brass board, that's kind of a fair price. And when we got to the East too, and things like the Elephant as well, where they'd been full brass, they were significantly higher. So I think that's a fair price. But you're right on the upgrades. The upgrade.
Yeah, this actually might be the cheapest full brass PVD board made. Might be the cheapest. Well be. Yeah, 10 kit limit on that one. I wonder if all of those are gone. Not that I would get one, but
yeah, it's payday today for me, so maybe. I'm tempted. I do like a bit of brass.
So one thing that kind of surprised me a little bit were the PCB and plate options. So let's talk about that for a second. You have your choice between 2 PCBs when you order this, and they are proprietary. This does use a center mount USB. So let's check out these PCBs. So first up is an MX/Alps combo PCB that will feature these layouts, which are somewhat limited. You don't get ISO support. You get pretty limited ONZ stuff, if I do say so myself. But, you know, good enough for most ONZ users. And then your Alps, obviously, quite a bit more limited. It's pretty much limited to like an AEK. And then you have the option for a MX-only hot swap PCB, which is, you know, kind of your HHKB Win keyless hybrid. Yep. And now, here's what I thought was a little strange. Let's take a look at the plate options. So you have a universal plate, all right, looks pretty normal. It's a universal plate.
Well, it doesn't look universal.
Well, it's not universal in terms of ISO and ONZ. It's universal in terms of ONZ. So, yeah, you're kind of limited there. Obviously, if you're like Jay and you like to use ISO, you're a little bit screwed on this group buy entirely, unless you get some custom stuff done. But hey, you know, it's unfortunately how it is.
One of the interesting things, though, is if you scroll up and you look at the actual the image where they show the board and they've got the red red plate on there, that does show that it's fully universal at that point.
Yeah, it also shows right mount USB, which I'm almost positive is wrong. I'm pretty sure they swapped that to the mid.
Yeah, and the prototypes show full compatibility as well. They show full universal layout as well. So it is interesting that the PCB and plate samples say that.
Yeah, very strange. So you got a couple more. After the universal plate, you got a couple more options. You got the Win keyless plate. You have an HHKB plate, and then you have the Alps plate option. You can choose between those 4 in the group buy. So what I thought was kind of strange is the Win keyless plate forces split backspace.
That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, so if you want normal backspace with MX switches, you have to go the universal plate, which I thought was very strange. I get having the split backspace on the HHKB exclusive plate. That makes sense to me. I do not get it on the win keyless option.
Yeah, it's interesting as well. The other thing that I've noticed on these as well is if you look at the win keyless plate, the HHKB plate, they've all got the relief cuts into the plate, but the universal plate doesn't have them, even though they could quite easily have them around certain switches, such as your pipe key on the ANSI layout, caps lock, backslash, all those kinds of things. They just don't exist on that universal plate where they could do.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe the justification is because it's a universal plate, you're already going to have more open area. So maybe you don't need relief cuts. I'm not saying that is certainly not a scientific way of justifying relief cuts. But
if you're going to do it for one key on one plate, you should, and you're going to offer it. Well, if you're going to do it for a single key, say the caps lock key, on 2 out of 3 plates, why wouldn't you just put it on all 3 plates? It just seems a little bit weird.
Yeah. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, I'm sorry. I'm trying to catch up with chat, so there might be some conflicting things here.
While you do that, I'm just going to have a look through and see if I can see anything on the universal stuff.
Wasn't it PC plates only though? Center said there will be a dedicated win keyless plate, but only on polycarbonate. What? I don't quite understand what you guys are saying. Just need an update photo.
It's polycarbonate plates only. Interesting. Okay.
So how are they handling the metal plates then? Maybe all the information isn't quite present here in the group buy listing. It's a little convoluted.
It is. There's a lot of questions for me in this one. And I'll be honest, I haven't read through all of the thread. There's quite a lot of chat in the thread where people are probably asking a lot of these questions as well. But to be honest, I think the board's going to be fine. It's going to be a great buy. I am slightly frustrated that there's no clear answer on the ISO layout. That's slightly frustrating, because if there was, I would probably buy this as well. I've got to be honest.
All right. Okay, so there is an update to the thread at the very end. Sorry, I missed that, guys. Says, as so many people asked, dedicated win keyless plate can be available, but only in black/clear polycarbonate. You can write a note in the last question in the order form and tell me to replace the PC layout to dedicated win keyless. I don't really see what that changes, though, in terms of forcing split backspace. The current win keyless plate is meant to be used for the hot swap PCB. The universal plate is a must-have. Huh. Very interesting. Very interesting. It's a little confusing, but interesting.
You might want to go read through and just double-check your options, Brian.
Well, I just made it easy on myself, and I went full HHKB. Because I prefer the win keyless version, but I'd also prefer not having a headache. So
that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
I will happily make my peace with HHKB layout, because I still love that layout anyways. So I'll be good.
Cool. Okay, so that's an interesting one. A few questions on there, so we'll have to see how they pan out. But it does look like a solid board either way, and I think the price point is pretty good. Yeah, some additional bits are a bit spendy, but for the actual main board, I think the price is pretty spot on, to be honest. Yeah,
if you stick to all the minimum stuff like I did, you know, the base price, not too unreasonable at all.
Absolutely.
All right. Talking about reasonable prices, let's move on to the next topic. The ALF Studio X1.1 custom mechanical keyboard kit currently on mass drop for $330. And this one is pretty interesting. There's a lot of drama surrounding this one that I don't know how much is public, so I'm not really going to get into it. But I will say that there has been a private group buy for this board previous to this running on mass drop. And a lot of people are a little upset because they thought it was going to stay private, and they don't really see the point because the price really wasn't any different. and they didn't get anything special as private group buy buyers. So
yeah,
a lot of people are kind of up in arms against that.
The latest I heard on this just before the show, Brian, is that this actually might get removed from mass drop, and it might be pulled as a group buy entirely.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well. But yeah, I wasn't sure if that was public knowledge yet or not, so I didn't really want to say that. But if that is public knowledge, then yes, let's just assume this is going to be removed, because there's like a 99% chance that's going to happen. But you know, it is what it is. So we won't spend too much time on it. But the listing is up, and we're not 100% sure it's going to be removed necessarily. So let's just touch on it briefly, just because, and so people kind of know what's going on.
Sure. Okay, so really quickly then, the specs on this one, we'll just run it down. Made by Alpha Studio, full aluminium case, has RGB underglow and a shine-through logo as well. So the Alpha logo you see on the top of the board of the arrow keys, that is like a shine-through logo. You can get a brass add-on weight, brass and acrylic inserts as well. Full QMK PCB, mini USB connection, and supports wing keyless and wing keyless ISO. Although I should say it's partial wing keyless ISO, because you can't split left shift on this board, which is part of the ISO layout. So it does support parts of it. In terms of the price, I think it's a little bit more expensive than what the private group buy was, I've heard, but I wasn't involved in that, so I can't comment any further.
I think it's actually a little cheaper.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I'm like, it was like the same price, but shipping is cheaper or something like that.
Right. Okay.
Is what I've been hearing.
I kind of like the look of the board, though, I've got to be honest. I think it looks good. I like the wing keyless version, especially with those blockers in the middle. And what I do like about this board, which is kind of a little bit different, is the way that you can see just poking through on the front edge the brass weight insert. So I really like that. Yeah.
No, I think in terms of design, it's a very nice board. I like it a lot. I really like the RGB under the ALF logo with the acrylic insert there. I think that is sublime. Absolutely love it, especially on an all black board kind of like this that I'm showing right now on stream. I think that RGB really pops there, and it's quite nice. So I'm a little bummed that this is probably going to be removed, because I might have actually joined it. I think the price is pretty reasonable. It's not too often you find a nice you know, full metal TKL with nice design, brass plate and brass weight for $330. I think the shipping is like $8 to the US on this one too, so it's like not even that much.
It's unbelievable. I'm just going to check what the shipping to the UK is actually on this one. Let's have a look.
You do that. The colors are plentiful.
$10 shipping to the UK, which that's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, you know, mass drop shipping, let's just say they like to do things very slow. But, you know, the benefit there is you might not be paying a lot for shipping. So,
no, but mass drop also won't mark down. So from a UK perspective, we'd also get hit with a 21% fee plus a 22% customs fee for this board. So you're going to end up spending another 50% of the actual cost of the board in the UK and a lot of the EU countries as well.
Very unfortunate. To say the least.
Expect a lot of my group buy stuff to come through you, Brian, first. To be honest, going forward, you're going to have to be my proxy, I think.
Anyways, they have a lot of colors for this group buy, which is pretty nice. You got light blue, orange, pink, black, purple, navy, red, gray, and this kind of extra expensive Everest white, which they've been doing a little bit more lately. That'll cost you an additional $50 for that color. So that's a steep upgrade.
This is the third board we've shown today that has the Everest white, so that's the same that we saw on the JER board as well, the JER board.
Yeah, which I think is also manufactured by Alf. So Alf really putting that white to work at his factory.
Yeah. I think it's also the same white that's on the Doro 67 when that actually ships eventually. For people that are waiting for that one as well. From a personal perspective, though, I have to say I really like the orange colour on this board. If I was going to buy, I think the orange one is what I'd go for, and that's not usually to my taste, but I really like that orange colour.
Yeah, no, it looks really good. I feel like orange isn't really offered that often in group buys. I don't see a lot of orange options in group buys, but that's quite nice, yeah.
The only other board that I can think of that did orange really well, or sorry, two boards I can think of, was the Weaven and the Pearl. They both had really nice orange shades. And yeah, but this looks like a winner to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going through the colors right now on stream. They are quite something. I certainly would not pay $50 extra for the white. I think that's just a little too much.
Yeah. If it was $20, I could kind of see it, but $50, you're right. Yeah. It's probably a little bit too much.
I'm a cheapskate, man. I like going like the minimal options in group buys. I like seeing how close to the minimum price I can get whenever I join a group buy. Anyways, like we were saying, probably gonna get removed from mass drop, unfortunately, for the people that actually want this. So, you know, oh well. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Talisman calling you out as well and saying at Quakeham's plethora sublime. Have you been reading your thesaurus recently?
I don't own a thesaurus. I just have I have a respectable vocabulary.
And you are resplendent in your use of it.
How very astute of you to notice. All right.
Anything in your dulcet tones.
All right, we could go on forever, but we still have... We're only at the tip of the iceberg on this news doc, guys. That's how long it is this week.
We're not even a quarter of the way through yet, guys. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, so we're gonna continue with this so the show doesn't go on too terribly long. So let's move on to the next topic, which I can clearly see that you absolutely love this, and you have so many things to say about this, Jay. So tell us about this project.
Okay, so this is a Bluetooth split Ergo mechanical keyboard with a whole host of features. Now, I'm not sure if the Geek Hack audience is the right audience board, but it's been run on Kickstarter at the moment, which is kind of unusual because we don't usually feature stuff that's on Kickstarter as well. But in terms of the way the board's laid out, it's very similar to the Dactyl menu form, where it's got that that concave kind of shape and style to the board. It's tented, it's angled, it's got thumb clusters, designed for comfort, productivity, and flexibility as well. So the designer says, but it's fully ergonomic, sorry, I'm tripping over my own words here. Ortho layout with 20 degrees of tenting. So the tent upwards from the center. So from the center upwards is 20 degrees, which is quite steep, steeper than any other board I've used with a tenting kit. But the really cool stuff on this is what Brian was showing on the stream a second ago, which is around the smart adapters that you can pop into this. So you can kind of add different add-ons to the board, where you can clip in certain peripherals, and it means you can tweak, adjust things. You can have a mouse, you can have trackpads, you can kind of put all sorts of different peripherals into the keyboard effectively and attach that all together. And then they all work wirelessly as well through the same Bluetooth connection. So it's pretty impressive. I'm kind of impressed by the amount of engineering that's gone into this. I don't know how usable it would be for me in real life, but I'm kind of just really impressed by the board and the work that's gone into it. And whether or not this is for our community, I hope this does well, regardless in the wider designer community or people who might find a use for this in the real world.
Yeah, this is actually a really interesting product. Like you said before, I don't know if Geek Hack is the right audience for that, because Geek Hack tends to veer a little bit more towards, you know, my customs and stuff. But it's certainly a cool piece in its own right, and I think the modularity aspect of it is really quite fascinating.
Yeah, it's very different from anything we've seen for a long time. I don't know how to really describe it other than just talk about it, because it's just such a unique concept compared to what we've had before in the community. So
yeah, we don't have many words to say about this, but it's
I literally put that on the doc today. I literally said, I don't have any words for this one. That was my exact quote on the doc as well.
Yeah. But it's very interesting, if nothing else. And you know, we always try to support interesting and innovative processes and products. So I would like to see how this one would go.
Yeah, I'm going to follow it through Kickstarter. I'm probably not going to jump on it, but I do kind of want to see this be a success, irrespective of our community, where we're focused more on customs, but just for its ingenuity and its attention to detail. I think it's really well done.
Yeah. most definitely. So this is on Kickstarter right now, guys. So if this is your thing, make sure you you go check that out, and maybe we can. I don't know. I would say we could try to get one of these to sample, but that's probably not going to happen as it's a Kickstarter product. But
yeah, I think it'll be a while. I think these prototypes are all 3D printed as well, so they're probably not going to be
that's what it looks like.
Representative of the final product. So it does look very much like a Daxel menu form that's been adjusted and tweaked, and then all of these additional modules have been created on the side. Yeah. But the way they all work over Bluetooth, it looks really good. I'm really impressed by it.
Both of us would probably struggle greatly to use this anyways.
Yeah. There's no spacebar for my forefinger, so I don't know what I'm going to do. But
there's no huge ISO enter. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, we should do like we should get them to produce like a module for that, like literally just a module that clicks on the side that's just a macro pad of ISO enters. You know, have like 10 ISO enters.
Oh man, yes, that's how all boards should come. All right, moving on. We have the Collide39 Group Buy, which is US only. Kind of interesting.
It is. I'm going to paste a couple of links into chat here because the first one is just on a Google Doc. It's not anything else, but I'm also going to paste in some links to some images as well, guys. So feel free to check those out. Brian will be having a look at it in a second as well.
Yeah, I'm putting it up on stream right now. All right, so this is kind of reminiscent for me of you remember like a miniature version of like the breadstick. Remember that board?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which was like a 3x like 20 or 3x 30 or whatever. It was like absolutely unbelievably silly. So kind of like this. This is every time I see one of these layouts, these like 3x10 layouts or 3x12 or whatever, it blows my mind how people are able to use stuff like this, because there's no way I could use something like this like functionally. It would take me so long to adjust to something like this.
Yeah, I just wouldn't have the finger skill to be able to use this as a daily board. But for those that can, absolutely props. You know, it must be a steep learning curve to be able to use it.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly not my thing, but I definitely respect people that that like this sort of thing.
Yeah, so just to cover some quick specs on it, it's USB-C through a controller. I think it's Teensy or something like that. Acrylic cases, so you can have multiple choices on the acrylic cases. PCB as well. You can buy multiple PCB, and it's relatively inexpensive. Price for the PCB is between $17 and $20 each, depending on how many they sell, and the cases are only $40 each. So for $60-ish, I think it's quite a nice little toy. For me, it would be. I wouldn't be able to use it. It'd be a shelf piece. For those that can use it, it's an absolutely fantastic price for a productivity board for some travel with. I can absolutely see people wanting to use those kind of use cases. Group buy starts on the 16th of Jan, ends on the 30th, invoicing early February, and then production by April. So production by the end of March, sorry, and shipping the first week in April. So I think it looks good. I think it's a great price for this product. I suspect that a lot of people that are into these boards are going to buy multiple of these. I don't think it's going to be a buy one and done. I think it'll be a case of buy a couple and have a couple of different layouts in it.
Yeah, like the type of people that are into this kind of layout are really into this kind of layout.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's got quite a lot of layout options as well. I don't know if you had a look on the layout options, but you can kind of split the board up and use different things in different ways, and you can have 2 U keys in certain places, and you can stagger some and not others. So there's a lot of options in how you can build and put these together as well.
Yeah, certainly. Very cool. All right, so make sure to join this if this is something that you're into. Group buy ends at the end of this month, or the 30th. How many days are in this month? Well, how many days are in this? Oh, it's 31. Okay, so not the end of the month, but the 30th.
Just before the end of the month.
I was going to say the end of the month, and I was like, wait a minute, I think there's 31 days in January. Anyways, yeah, you got just under 2 weeks to get in this group buy. This is your thing. Pretty inexpensive.
So, absolutely, yeah.
Very cool. Let's move on to another mass drop listing. This one probably will not get taken down, if I had to venture a guess.
This isn't going to get taken down. Yeah. This is going to be just all right.
Yeah, so this is the Nerd DSA keycap set, designed by Matteo, ran through mass drop here, with a starting price of $70 by the look of it.
Yeah, which is pretty cheap. Pretty cheap. It's die subbed PBT, and it comes in two different layouts. You can either have, or two different styles, sorry, with multiple choices within them. You can either have Elvish or you can have Russian Cyrillic. And then you can have multiple options for there, so you can have them with or without sub-legends. Well,
yeah, the options look pretty good from what I'm seeing here in terms of compatibility. You can cover pretty much anything that you want.
Yeah, the base kit covers a lot. It covers TKL 60%, 65% just about, ISO as well. So I think it's pretty, full functional. The only thing it won't cover is a full size board. You'd have to get the numpad as well on the side, so you won't be able to cover full size or 1800. You will need the numpad for that. But yeah, I think they look quite good on compatibility. Yeah.
Not too shabby. So, yep, starting price is $70 here. I assume that's just for the base kit, and the extra stuff will be a little bit more, if I had to guess.
Yeah, they're $25 each, I think. So it there's a couple of options for the kits. I think whether you get the numpad or whether you get the extra kits or the Ergodox kit, all the kits are priced at the same at $25. So it's fairly easy to work out what you're going to be spending on if you want to.
Yep. And the estimated ship date, pretty surprising. Estimated ship date is the 28th of this month.
Yeah.
So, which leads me to believe that these have already been manufactured.
I think they have. Now, interestingly, it doesn't mention that they're done by Signature Plastics, so I assume they're not a Signature Plastics set.
Yep, that would be...
But they are PBT.
Yeah, that would be probably a good guess. Generally, if you're using Signature Plastics, people like to make note that they're using Signature Plastics, because that usually warrants a little bit more, community clout and a higher price increase.
Yeah. Now, I did message Matteo and didn't get any response back yet, but I suspect that these pictures are actually not renders. I think they're actually photographs of the actual keycap. Now, if they are, one thing that does jump out at me, if we look at the top board, the Russian board, which has got the red layout on there, the top row, the number row, looks slightly more creamy than the middle two rows, and the bottom row and the spacebar go creamy again. So it's almost like a different colour. Now, if this is a production set and it's not a render, and that's not an error with that does jump out at me that there might be some quality control issues with the keycaps.
That is really interesting. That doesn't seem to happen on the Elven ones that I'm
It's not on the Elven one, it's only on the Russian one, but it's in all the pictures of the Russian one. It's not just on one picture, it's in all of the pictures.
Wow,
but it
good
isn't
eye.
present in the layout. So yeah, so it is interesting. I did notice it.
It's also only on the Russian Mono Legends. The one that has Russian with English sub-legends actually looks fine. So
yeah, I couldn't see it on there. It's just the sole Russian one. You're right. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, good eye. That's something to note. Hopefully, that's not a problem. I hope that will get addressed.
Yeah, it may be the light. It may be something else. It may be the flash on the camera or something. But it is noticeable to me, and it did jump out to me. So yeah. I'll be interested to see if anyone does buy this, if that's actually present in real life use.
I would be really upset if I bought this and it came to me like that. I would be incredibly unhappy. All right, so moving on. Join that now if that's your thing, because the ship date is like 11 days from now. So I imagine this probably closes pretty soon. Yep, 1 day left. So. Join it now if you want it.
Jump on it. I'm almost tempted to join it just for that DSA enter on the ISO enter on the Elven keycap set. There's a really nice pink one. I'm almost tempted to join it just for that one cap, but that might be a bit too much.
Oh yeah, I see it now. Wow, that's goofy. All right, continuing on the mass drop train. Mass drop doing some things lately. So
doing all the things lately.
Yeah, if you guys remember, maybe not too long ago, they did a group buy, a drop for GMK white on black, very simple set, pretty nice looking. And the cool thing about this set was it's just a simple two-tone white on black set, and B, it was $100. And if you guys aren't aware of GMK pricing, $100 is a very good price for a GMK
it's
set.
An obscene price. Yeah,
That it would, in fact, we very, very rarely get GMK sets down to $100 in pricing for group buys. So that was pretty cool. And they apparently have bought several extras because they are just selling them. I think this is how they've got the price down. I think they've ordered an absolute ton of these sets. And that's how they've got the they've hit some sort of price break, maybe for 1,000 sets or something like that. That's got the price down for the group buy, and this is where they're trying to make their a little bit more money back on them by selling them at $10 more than the group buy price, which is completely fine. It's not like it's flip prices that you see in aftermarket sometimes in this community. $10 increase over the group buy price is completely understandable for them having to stock them and keep them in storage and all of that kind of stuff as well. So I think it's it's a great idea that they've done this, and it's nice that more people can get hold of this set because it's a classic set. Exactly, and I've said it on the show multiple times. I really wish that really basic dual tone sets like this would just be easily available, easily accessible in the community for a reasonable price at any time you want. I shouldn't have to wait for a group buy on a set like this.
I think
I should just be able to buy very simple GMK sets like this, white on black, black on white. Fun fact: I hit a mass drop the other day, and I was like, "Hey, you should do a run of black on white now." And he said, "If there's enough popularity for it, definitely, because this went really well." So hopefully we'll see the opposite of this, the black on white instead of the white on black for another run of $100. That's the hope. The compatibility is there, but it's a little lacking. You don't get quite as much compatibility as you might with a lot of other full-fledged GMK sets at higher prices. But you do have a lot of basic stuff here. You got multiple space bars. You have ISO support, step caps, HHKB, that kind of stuff. This is good enough for a lot of people, just not everyone.
For sure, yeah.
So hoping to see more of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and if Mastrop aren't going to start to stock these sets, and I'm hoping they've got enough to keep this in stock almost constantly going forwards, but I'd be surprised if they do. But even if Mastrop doesn't, I think now that we know that GMK through their Unique store is offering sets themselves, it might be something that we see prop up on there. And these base sets like white on black, black on white, maybe the OG Dolch, something like that. That might start to make an appearance more often, or be available as an in-stock set, because I think that these should be more accessible. And they should, at this price point especially, it's a fantastic way to get into the hobby, and pick up your first GMK set if you don't have one already.
Yeah, certainly. So hopefully we can look forward to a black on white from Mastrop in the coming days. But until then, you can get white on black for $110, and it's in stock, so it'll ship. I actually already ordered one of these the other day, so I should be getting in mine in about a week because, snail mail. All right. Let's move on to another Mastrop link.
Sticking with Mastrop. Yeah,
sticking with Mastrop. But this one's actually pretty interesting. So this is the TEX ADA keycap sets. ADA is actually what they're calling the profile. If you're not familiar with TEX, they've been a keyboard brand in the community for many, many, many years. And this is a profile that they've been using on their own stuff, their own kind of OEM boards for a little while now. And now they're trying to branch out and do a run of the keycaps themselves so you can put them on your own keyboards. And a couple things to note here. First, the price, $40 base set. That's a relatively low price. And here's the link to what you get there. So the base set will strictly cover a 104 key set. So you don't have a ton of compatibility outside of standard layout stuff, but there is an extras kit that only costs, I think, about, what is it,
$20, I think.
$20?
Yeah, $20.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so for an extra $20, you get the extras kit, which is not too expensive. and that'll cover a lot more of your lesser standard layouts. And then, of course, they have a little bit of a novelty kit for $18 that is photography themed if you're into that sort of thing. They're a little bit intense for my liking, so I would certainly not order these, but, you know, that's
no,
just,
I kind of like these.
Yeah.
I kind of like them. I think they're a bit kitsch and a bit cool and a bit funky, and yeah, I like the apertures closing on the F keys, and yeah, I kind of like the simple vector graphics. I'm a big fan of those. I don't like the spacebar. The spacebar is one I would not use. But all the rest of them, I think they look cool. Yeah,
that spacebar is really busy.
Yeah, it's not for me, isn't the spacebar, but the rest of it I think is great. Yeah.
Yep, most definitely. So let's talk about the profile a little bit. So I have not used this profile. Have you?
So I haven't, no. But looking at it, all my head just goes straight to this is DSA. There's one shot where it's tied on to the keycaps on the floating board design, and it just looks like DSA now. It might be slightly deeper, it might be slightly more dished, I'm not sure, but for me, I'm not quite sure what the differentiator is between ADA and DSA is, except in price.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I was about to say the exact same thing. To me, this does look like DSA. It looks a little bit more dished, which is cool, because that's something I really like. But, yeah, for all intents and purposes, this probably feels very similar to DSA.
Yeah, for the price, though, I think it's reasonable. You're not going to get most DSA sets down at this price at $40.
No, you're not.
I mean, that's really cheap.
For $60, you can outfit a lot of boards.
Yeah, and for $80, you can have those really, really nice novelties as well. I'm going to pick up a set of this just to give it a try, just to see what it's like, just to compare it to some DSA caps. I think the shipping's quite soon on this, back end of March. So it's only a couple of months away. I think I'll pick up a set of this and try it against some DSA sets on stream in a couple of months' time when they come out, just to see what the profile's like.
Sure. And just for reference, this is ABS, it's not PBT, and the legends are laser engraved. So because of that, they might not look quite as clean as some other methods, and they might, not last quite as long as some other methods as well. But, that's how it is. Just sacrifices you make for the price, I guess.
Yeah. But if the profile works and it is different enough from DSA, then I'd like to see more of it. That's more colorways, more options rather than just white and black.
Yep, most definitely. All right, ending the mass drop train.
Whew.
We're gonna move over to an interest check for the Cruciformer, a tool for fixing MX stems. This is an interest check run by user Rudd on KeebTalk, and this is supposed to be a tool that is meant to properly size your MX stems. So if you haven't been around the community for very long, about a year ago, 10 months ago, 8 months ago, there was a big debacle over Kale box stem measurements, and they were reportedly breaking and stretching keycaps for users like GMK profile, whatever profiles. A lot of keycaps were being stress marked, fractured, and straight up broken. So that was obviously a big problem, and kind of as since has been fixed, courtesy of Kale. But it was a problem. It was definitely a problem, and there weren't really anything you could do to fix the problem besides just throwing away those switches and buying more or something. But since we've had this is actually the second interest check for a tool to force upon the stems and resize them forcibly. And that's something I really think the community needs. I'm not sure what happened to the other interest check. There was the stem shaver, I believe it was called. That was an interest check several months ago, and I thought it looked very promising, and I was really, really, really hoping to get one myself. I even filled out the form for it, because I have tons and tons and tons of box switches that are pre-tooled, so they will, in essence, potentially hurt my GMK keycaps, and I don't want that. So I really, really, really want one of these tools that works to hit the market, so we can, fix our stems.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree. I think there is a market for them. especially if they're cheap. Now this one, I don't know if you've opened the render gallery to have a look at this. It's right at the top of the link, Brian. But this one's kind of interesting because it's not like the stem saver. It's not just a tool. If you scroll down the pictures, there's actually like a housing that sits around the tool, so you actually place it over the box switch, and it kind of encapsulates the top half of the switch, so it makes sure that you're absolutely getting that tool in the right spot, and you're shaving the exact right amount of stem, rather than just doing it by hand, by eye, and maybe making a mistake. It literally sits right over the keycap, and there's a lot of renders.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through them now. There's tons.
Yeah, but you can see it's kind of got this this clear plastic housing that goes around it. It sits right over the switch top. It's got an indentation for that. The tool fits inside there, and then as you push this down over the top of the switch, it trims the stem in exactly the right spot for your keycaps. It's a really clever implementation of the tool. It takes out all of the manual guesswork. It stops you maybe slightly misaligning it and moving it around the top of the switch and causing other problems with your switch top. But yeah, I think it's a good idea and a good tool.
Yeah, this is like a really elegant way to do this. Actually, this is the stem shaver, which was previously in interest check form, was a little bit more rudimentary. It was kind of just a singular piece of milled metal that you just you shove down on your keycap, and hopefully it fixes the size, the tolerances. But this looks a little bit more elegant, a little bit more professional, maybe. I'd really be interested in getting one of these. I need a tool to fix my stems. I have like 400 box switches that are, quote unquote defective that I need to fix so I can use them. So please, please, someone run one of these tools. Yeah. All right. So
yeah, I mean, he does say in the IC that his CNC shop is actually ready to make these from early February, so the group buy should be coming soon. I'm not sure if I've seen a mention of a price in here.
Yep, so I'm actually in the album right now. Towards the top, there's an anticipated $25 to $35 US MSRP, depending on MOQ. Okay. That's 100 to 250 MOQ. I think selling 100 of these is pretty reasonable, if not more. So yeah, and he says that the tool offers cost recovery for 40 pre-tool switches, or cost savings if you have a 60% or larger board and get switches below their launch price. So, really trying to kind of play that angle of value. And for people like me, this is definitely value, because I have hundreds of box switches, and I know lots of other people that have hundreds of box switches that they just have sitting there unused because, pre-tooled.
Oh, for sure.
So, please. I don't want to have to beg for this. I really don't. But hopefully we can. Hopefully this interest check goes somewhere.
Yeah, I think one of the things for me on this that it needs to be careful with is the amount that the keycaps are off is very small. Sorry, the amount the switches are off is very small from a stem perspective. So actually getting the manufacturing tolerances on the tool to make sure that they're all exactly right. That's going to be probably his biggest challenge, making sure that he quality control checks that accurately. So, yeah, but I do want to see this.
I'm ready to shell out the dollars, man. Give me one of these.
Brian will buy 10. There you go.
I mean, I only need one, in theory. Assuming it works as it's supposed to, I should only need one.
Yeah.
Just give me a machine that has like 50 of these, so I can just do 50 switches like at once.
Yeah, just do like all your alphas in one, like a big press that just does all your alphas at the same time.
Yeah. Anyways, cool project. Hope it comes to fruition, because I need one. Lots of people need this.
Apparently the creator is watching now, so Rudd, if you're watching, hey man, good interest check. We like this tool.
Yes.
We want to see it run. And Brian will buy 10.
I will not buy 10. I will buy at least one, maybe two, maybe three. We'll see. But I swear to you, I will buy one at the very least. All right, let's move on to the next bit of news that we have, and here's where we're gonna start getting into the Panda Wars, which still rage on. So this is the pre-order for the KBDfans T1 tactile switch.
Yeah, which I've nicknamed the Holy Wei, and I'm trying to Wei spelled WEI after KBDfans run away. I'm hoping that name takes off. I'm basically everywhere trying to get it to take off just for the fun of it. Yeah, so Holy Wei switching.
Yeah. Well, anyway, gotcha. there's Oh man,
that was terrible, Brian, but I loved it.
Yeah, that's shout out to my boy Man of Interest for the transitions and puns. Anyways, so pre-order for the KBDfans T1 tactile switch. These are 55 cents each, and they are currently sold out. You cannot get these at the moment. So there's a lot of information on these, though. So let's go over some of this info. So the first batch was 12,000 switches, and as you can see, it has a clear, transparent housing. The batch afterwards will be Cyan Stem, which is the BEY colorway from Signature Plastics, with a translucent black housing, which we've seen pictures of, and it does look very cool.
Yeah. Now, interesting point on this. I have got some samples on the way. They haven't arrived as yet. I was hoping they'd be here for this week, but I will have them for next week, all being well. And as far as I understand it, the samples that Wei has sent me, from what he said, are the translucent black housing, which will be round 2. So we should hopefully have those on stream next week.
Cool. That would be fantastic. The next part here is a little confusing, and I've probably gotten at least a dozen comments and PMs over this since this article launched. So he says, according to the designer of the Holy Panda, the T1 and Holy Panda feel 95% identical, with only sound being slightly different. So that first line is a little misleading, because a lot of people see me as the quote-unquote designer of the Holy Panda. Obviously, all I did was I had some Halo stems, and I had some Panda housings, and I went, let me try that. And so I put them together, and I liked it. That's what happened. So
I think that makes you the designer. I think that makes you the guy that birthed the Holy Panda to the world.
Okay, yes. I mean, yes, if I didn't do it, someone else would have, but I had the prototype, so bam, I beat everyone else to it. Now I have all this fame! What am I supposed to do with all this fame? Anyways, so he says, according to the designer of the Holy Panda, which a lot of people, depending on how you depict that, is me. The Holy Panda and T1 feel 95% identical. I have not tried these switches yet. I do not have any of these switches in my possession. I have messaged KBDfans to try to maybe alter the wording there a little bit, but I haven't got a reply yet. Either way, I've had at least a dozen people message me asking me how these are, and I have no idea how these are, so don't PM me about how these are. I have not received them yet.
Next week.
But yes,
as long as they get delivered, we'll have them next week, and I will do a little bit of a talk about them, and we'll compare them to some real Holy Pandas live on stream, and have a look at that as well, and some other switches too.
Yep. So that'll be cool. Moving on, we have the 67-gram bottom out spring, which is the same as the normal Holy Panda, because that's most people use the stock spring because it's heavy enough for the switch to return, and it's light enough for the tactility to really shine through. I think that weighting does work a lot better. I've tried heavier springs. They don't work quite as well. I've tried lighter springs. They really don't work quite as well. So, so I really do appreciate the 67-gram spring on this one. Unlike the Kale Halo stem, which is traditionally used in a Holy Panda, the stem of the T1 is sized a little bit differently, so it's a little bit shorter, because if you guys don't know your measurements, the Kale switches are spec'd not to bottom out at 4 millimeters. They actually are meant for 3.6 millimeter, which is why the Kale stem has a longer pole on the bottom, a longer shaft, if you get my drift. So you won't have that absurd clack like you have with a Holy Panda with the T1 switch, which I personally like a lot. I like that clack, but this will probably sound a little bit more reasonable for a lot of people. I'm in the same,
but I love that clack of the Holy Panda. I think of those stems bottoming out early, I really like that. Now, interestingly enough, just as you mentioned that, Brian, as well, I did do a bit of a comparison and did a bit of an overlay. So I'm just going to paste that image into chat now if anyone wants to take a look at that. But effectively what I did is just took the two pictures of the stems from the interest check, overlaid a Holy Panda and the T1, and to be honest, the profile of the stem does look identical to that of the Holy Panda, except for, as Brian says, the actual shaft, where you can see that it's a little bit shorter as well. Brian's got that up on stream now for you to take a look at. So you can kind of see that the way it looks to have accurately reflected the tactility in terms of the stem of the Panda, the Holy Panda, without that shorter bottom out, which will give that deeper clack. So I suspect in terms of where Wei mentions that the sound is slightly different, that's what he's referring to. It won't have that deep bottom out sound. So yeah.
Yep, and this all started several months ago when Wei actually asked me for some Holy Pandas, just for reference points, because he wanted to make a Switch, and this is a Switch that he made. So several months ago, I sent him a few Holy Pandas, and I was like, "Here, do stuff," and he's like, "Gotcha." I'm gonna do all of the things. So in true Wei fashion, he's doing all of the things. And
yeah, where there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly, which I'm gonna pitch that as his next shirt idea, by the way.
Yeah, we should do, yeah.
All rights reserved. Anyways, so yeah, 55 cents a Switch. Hopefully it feels like a Holy Panda. We'll have to wait and see, but, you know, as Holy Pandas are getting cheaper, man. Like every week there's like something going on that's gonna make Holy Pandas cheaper, and this is the next iteration of that. Production has already been begun for the first round of pre-orders. 12,000 Switches will be produced for this batch, and Novel Keys will receive 8,000. So that's actually kind of something to note there, too. 2/3 of the Switches of this batch are going to Novel Keys, so I guess Novel Keys are going to be stocking the KBDfans T1, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, and the remaining 4,000 have sold out with KBDfans right now.
Within hours.
Within a couple of hours. So I've got some samples coming. I don't think I've got many. I think it's only a handful, but I think those are the translucent black housing ones that I have bought 100 of these Switches as well in the group by myself. So we'll be able to do a proper review when they come out before the second round with the black housing, so we can give you a better overview of them as well.
Yeah. I think the black translucent housing is going to look a little bit better and also help it kind of differentiate itself from other offerings on the market right now. So definitely looking forward to checking these out. We'll definitely have to get enough at some point for a full board so we can hopefully figure out what's going on there. But,
yep.
Hey,
yeah, absolutely.
If we can get Holy Pandas at 55 cents a Switch, I think that's pretty much a win for the community as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, if I was to guess, I'd just purely because of the housing being a different material to what the Panda housing was made from, and the stem being a little bit shorter as well. I suspect these are going to feel similar to or closer to Zelios than the Holy Panda. That's my kind of guess right now, but I have nothing to base that on other than just conjecture. So we'll see when they come anyway. But that's kind of where my thoughts are.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to hear the sound differences, and one thing I'm actually really interested in is how smooth these will be, because actually Holy Pandas traditionally are not that smooth. The Panda housing not that smooth. You know, so we generally lube them to get them much more palatable, but you know they are certainly not the smoothest Switch on the market. So I think if they can get that Holy Panda feel while actually, you know, giving more smoothness than we normally get with Holy Pandas, I think that could be a really big deal. And I think that's one way that Zeal with the V2 Zelios really succeeded in, because those Switches are super duper smooth and they have a really good big round tactility to them. So hopefully we see that here as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, but don't worry, guys. The Panda War's not done yet. Novel Keys is going to be stocking what they are calling the YOK Red Pandas, YOK.
Just to confirm, I did come up with the name for Red Panda here. This is all a J exclusive. Is the Red Panda name with
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it happened in chat. We were just chatting away, and I happened Red Pandas like I'm taking credit. I'm sure Mike had already thought of, but you know. Named 2 switches in a week. I'm going to take that if I can.
all right, there you go. So we got the Red Pandas, and these are kind of interesting. So let's take a look at some of the specs here. The first line in this group buy says, YOK Red Pandas are essentially B-Sun Jesus Switch clones.
Yes.
So we effectively have a Jesus Switch that is recolored. And benefits there are, hey, maybe you like this color better. Maybe you like the price better, because these are 55 cents a switch, whereas Jesus were 60 cents a switch, plus shipping. So I think you might get a little bit more cost savings here, as well as maybe some faster shipping times, depending on where you are. As usual, quantity 1 equals 10.
Yeah, and Mike has confirmed that these are made by B-Sun as well, so they are made from the same manufacturer that's doing the Jesus switches, so they should feel similar. The same housing, same stem, same leaf, and same spring, just a different colour. So it'll be interesting to see what these are like. I think, Brian, you've got yours on the way already to you.
Yep.
Mike's sending some samples. I'll have some in a week or two as well. It'll be longer shipping for me, but we'll have some, so we'll definitely check these out on the stream. And once we've got all of the pandas together, so I think we'll have Jesus, Red Pandas, Holy Pandas, and T1 Holy Wei switches. We'll do kind of a comparison stream at some point between Brian and I, where we compare all 4 and give you the lowdown.
It'll be like the Last Supper with panda switches.
And then we'll never mention them again. That will be it. That will be Panda Wars done. We'll give you a definitive answer, and boom.
Yeah, because this, let's be real here, this panda situation has gotten way out of hand. There is so many things going on right now, and it's kind of a nightmare to keep up with and know like what you should and shouldn't buy. We should make a panda guide on what everything is and what you should be getting and what you need to buy. One of the real cool benefits here is honestly just the color of it. And I know it sounds simple, but like, you know, when you make Holy Pandas, you're kind of forced into what color you have. And now we have options. So, you know, if you want that kind of deep red, burgundy, I guess you might call it, style housing, you know, that's pretty cool. Instead of you know, having to work with the kind of cream of the Panda or Jesus switches themselves. So you get a little bit more option here, which is nice. Yeah.
I'm already imagining these burgundy red pandas in my red Zephyr with something like GMK Red Samurai or GMK Burgundy or something like that on. Just all the red stuff. I think that'd be quite cool.
That would be nice. I think these would look really good with. Oh, here we go. We have some pictures of them actually, with the clear stem, the Halo clear stem. I think it looks a little goofy with the salmon stem of the Halo True. But I've always thought that, so could just be me. Anyways, if you're into pandas and the whole panda revolution going on right now, here are the YOK Red Pandas, 55 cents a switch, and you can use them to make Holy Pandas if you have some Halo stems around.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, let's move on to what I think is a really interesting topic.
This is something a little bit different. We don't usually cover stuff like this, so this is a little bit different. This is really interesting, though.
Yeah, so I mainly wanted to bring this up, not only for what it is, because it's really cool, but also kind of as a discussion point. So let's start with the basics here. So this is Yusha Kobo, which is Japan's first custom keyboard shop. This is a physical shop. I'm going to take you through a little tour of the album here, because there's several nice pictures. So the main reason I wanted to bring this up is, have we come far enough in the community to where this is going to be a success? Is this shop going to succeed? Are we going to see more shops like this? I want to know your opinions in chat, guys, because this was actually something I was thinking about for quite a while. Because do we have other physical storefronts in the community?
I don't think we do. I don't think we do at all.
Yeah, we have tons of online vendors, obviously, and a lot of those people have offices where you can go in and buy things. But this is like just a physical storefront where people just walk in and you see keyboard cases and plates and PCBs and JTK and GMK key sets. Like, this is a big deal, guys. This is like actually a big deal.
Yeah, Max Key and SP sets as well in there. There seems to be a lot of stock from Z Frontier when I'm looking at this. So you've got things like GMK, Chocolate Mint. You've also got Corner Creatures and things like that, sets that have only run through them. So it's quite interesting that some of these things appear in this. But I think this is a great idea, especially with the little maker corner in the shop as well, where he's got a 3D printer and all the tools that you could possibly need. And I think it's a really good idea. I really like it. I think it's just a really cool little place to hang out, especially where you've got pockets of the community that are a bit bigger. Like I think maybe some sort of pop-up shop in SoCal might be quite good. You know, where the community is quite large there, and people could just go around, hang around, have a coffee, take the keyboards down, do mini meetups and that kind of stuff. I think this could be really, really good for the community in those areas where we're already past that kind of miniature tipping point, where there's enough people in the area to make it kind of worthwhile.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think this is fantastic. Like, if one of these opened, like, anywhere near me, I would be there all the time. I don't even need to be buying stuff. I just want to hang out in a store that's just filled with keyboard things that I like, things that I'm passionate about. And like Jay said, there's a working corner, there's a 3D printer, soldering iron, equipment, other stuff. I'm sure the people there will help you. You can assemble stuff there and use this equipment for 500 yen an hour, which is pretty cheap. I think it's, what, 100 yen to $1, so it's only like $5 an hour or so. Pretty reasonably priced. This is fantastic. And I want to be in the community. I want to see, like, firsthand stores like this open up, like, all over the world, because this could be the start of something, like, absolutely freaking amazing. Someone in the chat did also mention that there's apparently one in Moscow.
Oh, yeah, I did see this on Reddit a while back. Yeah, so there was another guy that had got some custom boards, and he'd opened up a small shop, and he had a really nice wooden setup with, like, shelves down the store and things like that. If anyone's got the link, post that in chat.
Yeah, someone posted. I'm actually going to open that right now just to check that out. It was posted 1 month ago. And this is, well, is this just one picture?
Yeah, I think that's all it is, but you can see it's all nicely laid out, wooden floors. It's kind of got that whole almost like an Apple industrial come modern kind of feel to it, with a lot of what I think is his personal collection.
Yeah, see, like, to me, this doesn't scream like custom keyboard store. It's really cool. No. This layout is amazing. This picture is freaking gorgeous. But this doesn't feel like a store to me in the same way that Yushakobo feels like a store to me.
Yeah, yeah. Someone just posted in chat. It feels more like a bar than a store. I think that's kind of probably not too far from the truth. It feels a little bit too set up and stuff, but it does look beautiful. But I'm almost wondering if the community gets just a little bit bigger, just a little bit more populous, are keyboard stores the next comic book stores? Yeah,
and like, because we are a really niche hobby, man. We really are. You know, it's always growing, and of course it's getting bigger, but we are really, really niche. And that kind of brings me to my follow-up point on this is this something that's going to succeed? Like, is this going to go out of business in a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year? Or, like, is this, like, actually going to be a profitable and successful business for Yushakobo?
I genuinely think they're going to struggle with some items, and they're going to be much better with other items. So I think in terms of stuff that the online vendors sell today, so switches and things like that, they're probably not going to be as profitable as such as customizable items such as wrist rests and keyboard carry cases, which you see quite a lot of in there. Anything that's kind of available from you know, an online vendor that's a known quantity, like an aluminium case or something like that, is probably going to struggle a little bit more here. But I think it'll be the kitsch items. It'll be those items that are a little bit less seen. Those ones that are kind of more, what's the way of putting it? Probably the stuff that hits the mainstream a little bit more as well. So things like a wrist rest, probably a really good example. You know, people outside of our community will use wrist rests as well. I think that's probably where a lot of the sales are coming from. But where the store's located is probably one of the largest sectors of the community in you know, in Japan. So I think it's got every chance of doing really well. Got every chance.
Yeah, some people have pointed out the prices are a little on the high side, which is understandable when you're at, you know, a physical retailer.
He's got bricks and mortar store to pay for. You know, he's got a physical outlet to pay for, which will have rent and things like that. The prices are going to be higher. But if you get that really good, valuable customer service, if you can go down, if you can have a chat with the guy, if you could talk to him about what you're buying and stuff like that, is that worth an extra $5, $10? To me, it would be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, plus just the fact that you'd be supporting good people doing this kind of thing, you know? Like you just said, like if this guy's a nice guy and he's really helpful and he knows his stuff and, you know, he's willing to go the extra mile for you, which he probably is if you own this kind of store, it could be worth the extra price increase. And maybe it's just a cool place to hang out and work on keyboards. You know, he's got that kind of corner workstation kind of thing set up.
Absolutely.
This could be a really cool thing.
Yeah, he's thought it out well. He's got the products. He's got the right products. He's got you know, the right setup. The store looks homely. It looks nice. It looks kind of busy and stuff, but that's kind of in a nice way. He's thought about what his clients are going to need. You know, things like access to tools and soldering irons, all of that kind of good stuff. So I think it'd be, you know, I think it's a great idea, and I just really want it to succeed.
Like, his little side with the girl and the soldering iron is like
it's cool, isn't it?
One of the cutest things I think I've ever seen in the keyboard community. And like she has the little like enter like pin in her hair, like
yeah. We need to get stickers of that.
I love that. That is amazing.
We need to reach out and see if we can get him to make some stickers of that. Yeah,
t-shirt material, Mountain Blocks just says. I totally agree. Absolutely,
I'd buy that.
All right, so very cool. We'll have to follow up with this and see how it goes over the next few months. I'm really interested to find out, because if this is really a success, we might see one or two of these start to pop up, you know, in other places in America and in the EU, the UK maybe. Would be really, really cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure the community is big enough in the UK to support it, but I would absolutely love it to be there, even if it was just a pop-up shop for, you know, around a meetup or something like that. You know, I would love to see that.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We have something pretty interesting that was posted just yesterday. This is I guess you can't really call it an interest check or a group buy, but it's a liaison service, which I think is aptly named by user Tyson522. So he's calling it the Cerakote Liaison Service. So basically, he's got a Cerakoting place very near to him that he's already tested out and worked with, and here are some pictures of the quality there. He did his, this is an X60, I think, an Actuary X60.
Yep.
By the looks of it.
As well. Yep,
and a Pearl as well, which I think, there we go. That he has had Cerakoted, which is a finishing that you can do to metals. It's gaining a lot of popularity in our community. It's what a lot of like gun parts use. It's almost kind of a ceramic kind of look and feel, and apparently he's very happy with the quality of this, and he decided to say, hey, maybe we can do a little bit of a service because it's kind of inexpensive. So he's doing kind of a run of his liaison service, and he's going to be doing 40 boards for this run, up to 40 boards. And he does a good job explaining what Cerakote is and what you can kind of expect. And he goes on to... sorry, I use the white theme, guys. Sorry, so the contrast is kind of messed up for some of these. But I know, I'm kind of a freak. Oh, well. Anyways, so this is pretty cool. So basically, the gist is you send him the boards that you want done. And, you know, he will take them personally to his Cerakoting place nearby. That place will Cerakote them, and then he will ship them back to you after showing you pictures to make sure everything is cool. So that is pretty cool. The pricing is quite reasonable. He estimates it'll be about $35 plus shipping for smaller boards, 65% and less, and larger boards like 75% and up will cost about $50 plus shipping. Of course, you'll be paying for shipping both ways. So consider that.
Those prices are insane, and I know that they're only estimates based on a rough approximation of size, and they might be different for different users depending on what you're having done and what colours you're picking and what size board you're having and all of that kind of stuff. But even if those prices are anywhere remotely close to being true, they're fantastic prices. Yeah. And I've already reached out to Tyson. We've had a conversation about this already because I've got a couple of bits I might send through to him, because that pearl looks fantastic. That blue and that grey together on that pearl, they look really, really good. And if this is, you know, if this works well and he can keep this this process going, and he can manage the time investment and the logistics that he's going to have to put in around this, then this is a winner. Really good.
Yeah. Anyways, it's looking quite promising. Like Jay said, the prices look they look reasonable enough for like a lot of people to be like, oh shit, like I should just have this board redone because it's only going to cost me like, you know, $60 after all said and done, which is quite good. Also, what is really, really good is his service time, total service time. I mean, obviously this is going to be kind of an estimate, but he estimates 14 to 21 days. That is pretty good, considering like to ship a board to someone, you know, have them work on it. He's going to take it to the place personally and then have it shipped back to you within about 21 days is pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, it seems really good, and I think Tyson's watching. So hi, Tyson. You know, he's a really active member of the community. He's a standard guy. You know, he's in the Top Clack Discord quite a lot. So I think this is a really good liaison service, and you know, I'm quite excited to try this out on something.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to see how this goes. I will most likely be sending him one, if not two boards. I just got to decide on a couple things first, but looking promising. Hoping this goes really well, and if it does go really well, you know, maybe he'll do it again.
Yeah, and the other thing as well to call out as well is he does answer this later on in the thread, but it does cover the cost of removal of the existing finish on the board as well.
Oh, yes.
So if you've got anything like anodization on there that needs to be stripped off where it's marked or chipped or got grooves and dents in it, or if there's anything like MAO that has to come off before you can put this coating over the top, that is included in the cost as well.
Yep. So pretty darn awesome, and a lot of people seem to be kind of skeptical on the price. It does seem a little on the low side. But Tyson goes on to kind of mention that, you know, most of these Cerakoting places work with gun parts, which are, you know, a lot more tedious, a lot more intricate, and, you know, usually you have to, you know, remove grease and do a bunch of other stuff. It's more labor intensive, whereas, you know, much more like, larger, flatter keyboard parts are generally a little bit easier to work with. So a lot of times when you get quotes from factories about, like, keyboard parts, they can, you know, kind of overquote you because they're used to doing more intricate, more expensive, more labor-intensive work. So that's, in theory, that's part or all of the reason why the prices are lower than, you know, you might otherwise expect them to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so hoping the best for Tyson here. Hope this goes over very well. Let's move on to a very interesting interest check. I really love the name of this, by the way.
It's clever, isn't it? It's clever.
Yeah, so like this is an interest check. It might as well be a group buy, but already. But it's an interest check by Amir for the Linjär switch. I probably butchered that name. I have no idea how to speak Swedish, but.
I asked him earlier on. I messaged him and said, "How do you pronounce it?" And he says it's Linjär.
Linjär. So, okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about this switch, Jay.
Okay, so the name does mean linear. That's what it means in Swedish, and it's kind of picked up from that whole IKEA kind of theme of having Swedish names for something that's quite practical. So it's kind of a bit of a pun in itself. It's basically a recolored Gateron, so it uses custom colors that match exactly to the Swedish flag. So Pantone 301C and 116C, which are the official Swedish Pantones. It's a 65 centinewton bottom-out gold-plated spring. Interestingly, the switch does come from Gateron factory lubed as well. And the pricing is 35 cents per switch in batches of either 90 or 120. Try and keep costs down. Now, I was talking to him earlier on, and he mentioned that the MOQ was for 20,000 switches originally, but they are talking about potentially removing that limit and having it open-ended. Now, I think the group buy is going to run in Sweden for Swedish folks, first of all, and then once that's done, it will be running with mykeyboard.eu.
Yeah, so originally he was going to just do this for the Swedish community, but apparently there was so much interest, like from everywhere, that he decided he was at some point at least going to open it up for other people to buy. So this has kind of been a thing lately, doing recolored, kind of retweaked Gateron switches, because it's accessible. You have options, and people can kind of just play around with things. So, like Jay mentioned earlier, these are the official Pantones of the Swedish flag. So, which is really, really cool to me, for starters. And it looks like you will get the kind of all matte housing, which I really, really enjoy. I think it gives a better sound signature.
Yep, agree. And
the price is looking pretty reasonable at about 35 cents a switch. That's USD pricing. Assuming they cross that 20,000 MOQ, which, according to what he has been saying in this thread, is already well past. They are fully confident that they are going to cross the 20,000 mark. That shouldn't be a problem at all. Which, in the grand scheme of things, 20,000 switches in our community, really not that much when you think about it. So, pretty awesome stuff there. And also, let me try to find it so I don't sound like a complete moron. This is... Oh my god. Sorry. Let me... Okay, here we go. This is a non-profit group buy. So,
it is, yeah. Fully non-profit.
Yeah, so they are not doing this to make money in any sense. They are doing this just to keep costs to the minimum and just get a cool Switch out to people, which is really cool, really heartwarming. Which is part of the reason why you get that 35 cents a Switch price, which is relatively low for a custom Gateron Switch. Usually we're seeing 45, 50, 55, 60 cents a Switch on those Gateron tweaks.
Yeah. And just to confirm as well, the conversations they've had with MyKeyboard.eu as well, they've confirmed that as a store, MyKeyboard will be not making any profit as well. They'll just be acting as a proxy for free on this one. To be honest, quite stand up for a vendor to do that, to invest their own time and money to make this project a success. And I know he is talking to some US vendors at the moment, so there will be a US proxy as well. I'm not quite sure who that is, but I know he's in conversations with people as well.
Yep, and then he posts a couple memes that are pretty funny. I'm just going to show on here. So he's got kind of an IKEA meme, but down here in the bottom in the logo it says Gateron, which is pretty hilarious.
I like that.
And then he has a Swedish. I'm going to assume this is football. Or rugby. I don't know. I am not Swedish. I don't know what kind of athlete this gentleman is. But
he's you'd call him a soccer player.
Okay, so do they call it football out there?
Football,
football.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zlatan is his name. Yeah.
All right.
I probably butchered the pronunciation of that. Actually, yeah.
That's okay. We're not Swedish. We can get away with stuff like that, right? Anyways, yeah, huge success. It looks like for an interest check, and we definitely wish them the best because it sounds like it's a really cool project. Awesome stuff, and of course, shout outs to MyKeyboard.eu for proxying the group buy at no profit. Very cool.
Very stand up of them. Yeah, I like that a lot, and I think they're going to ask the same of the US vendor as well, just for this one-off project. It's not a group buy designed to run into profit anywhere or to make money. It's literally to kind of get a cool product out to the community at cost, and that's genuinely a really nice thing to see.
Yep, absolutely. So make sure you support this, and maybe pick some up since they are very reasonably priced and they look quite nice. If I do say so myself. Youngblood just did a little render earlier today or this morning, I think, of this, so you can kind of see what the Switch might look like in completion. Looks very, very nice. IMO.
Yeah, I think it looks good, especially with the Nautilus keycaps. I've actually got a blue board, the TR60 coming soon as well, so I'm tempted to do a blue TR60 with blue Linjär switches and put GMK Nautilus on there as well. So yeah.
All right. And last but not least for our news doc, we have an interest check from your boy Heine Bush for FR4 plates for TKLs. So this is kind of an interesting project if you're not familiar with FR4. It's essentially PCB material. And a lot of group buy runners, vendors have been using that material to make plates as of late because it's kind of a unique feel. Excuse me, guys. I think I'm getting sick, so I don't feel very well. Anyways,
it has been run by Heine, who is a stand-up member of the community. He's quite active in all of the Discords. He's run quite a lot of these smaller projects before. He's also got his own keycap set running and things like that as well that we covered previously. So this looks like it's going to be really, standard, safe, fair. I think it's very good. I've got a lot of time for Heine. Looking at the actual product as well, so in terms of his plans at the minute, what he's going to do is certain plates for the Jane V2, the Jane V1, the Orion, the Met 27, the Mira, and the Moon. And in terms of layout options, there'll be MX for switches for MX switch cutouts for ANSI and ISO. So there'll be fixed plates for those. Alps, which will be ANSI Sangan or 6.25 U space with fixed bottom row. So you know, fair few options, fair few different boards. Quite complex to keep track of it all, I think. But if I know how, he'll be able to do this with his eyes closed. And you know what, these will look great. I think in terms of colours, he's if I read it before, he's doing white or green will be limited numbers. ISO plates will only be offered in 2 colours. Max is generally less demand for them, which we know is standard.
Yeah, so well, he's planning on doing matte black, blue, and red at least, and then he says maybe white or green too as limited numbers. So you'll get a little bit of a variety there. And for any of you that maybe haven't used an FR4 plate before, I have very, very brief experience, but he kind of equates it kind of in between polycarbonate and aluminum.
Yeah,
which I think is probably pretty fair.
Yeah, and the other cool thing about FR4 plates as well is if you wanted to turn a full plate into a half plate or anything like that, it's really easy for you to cut this yourself. You can do it with a Stanley knife, you can do it with a craft knife, so you could quite easily modify the layout of this as well if you wanted to, and you know, spots on there, turn it into a part plate or something. So lots of options with this one. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good little group buy.
Yeah, he does say they're pretty easy to stock, so he will probably just directly stock them, given some interest. So, you know, Jay named off the TKLs that he's planning on working with, and hopefully he'll probably kind of expand that as time goes on. So, if you have a custom TKL and you're ready for you know, an FR4 plate or just something different, then this could be a really good option for you.
Yeah, especially with his H87A, I think it was the PCB he's done recently for TKLs as well. This kind of feels like a natural product to sit alongside that, and I'm not sure if he's planning on offering bundles, but if not, that'd be a good idea as well, to offer, you know, a bundle of a PCB and a plate together.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
he is also planning on doing an Alps version that will be 1.2 millimeter spec as per the norm as far as Alps go.
Yep. Awesome. Which I think he said will be the ANSI Sangan layout as well. So yeah,
cool. Yep. So make sure you show interest on this if this is your thing. Maybe you have one of those high-end TKLs and you want something different for it. Get in there like swimwear.
Absolutely.
All right. Top Clack.
So now we're going to move on to something a little bit different.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about our sponsors real quick first. I think that's.
Oh, you want to do that first? Okay.
Yeah, let's do that first. So, Top Clack is brought to you by a few different sponsors that help us do all the awesome things that we do. So we would be remiss if we did not talk about. You like my vocabulary today? I'm using some high-level words for you guys. Yeah, just throw it out there. So, starting us off, we have novelkeys.xyz, run by MG Sickler. Really, really nice stand-up guy. Absolutely love the stuff that he does. He's got a few things going on right now, including, but not limited to, the Novelkeys X Gateron glow-in-the-dark switches that we talked about recently on last week's show, which is a pretty neat switch. It's effectively a Gateron yellow, which is nice, and then you get that kind of phosphorescent... Is that a word? Phosphorescent top and stem? I'm not sure what the proper word there is, actually. Well,
phosphorescence is correct, so yeah, I imagine the right word. Yeah.
All right. I was close enough. And
you need to get that thesaurus out, Brian.
Darn it! I failed! So, keeping in the theme to the glow sort of thing, he's got the Godspeed Glow desk mats, which is pretty interesting. He's got that RGB glow around the edge, which is pretty unique to our community. Like that a lot. And of course, like we mentioned earlier, he has the YOK Red Pandas in stock, as well as QMK Proton C controllers. And he's got the new Gateron switches in stock, the silent ones with the all black housings, and the black bottom and milky top versions, all at very reasonable prices. And if you use promo code NEWCLACK, that's what the code is this month, NEWCLACK, 2 words, you'll get 5% off your total order. So make sure you get in there and you buy stuff. Buy all the things.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay, so moving on, we have our second sponsor, who is Kono Store today, and I'm assuming Brian's going to have it up on screen. I can't see his screen.
Yeah, I am
got my layout done.
Way ahead of you, man. I track it. We're good.
Excellent, good. Yeah, I've had to cover it up to be able to see this. So Kono have got some great products on offer at the moment. As always, they've got the Gemini Dawn and Dusk pre-order that's going on at the moment, which, as Quakens has described before, is a killer for another type of board. I'm not sure if we're allowed to mention the name, are we? I don't. Trying to keep it safe and secure there, but yeah, it's a great looking board, all the R's, G's and B's and everything else that you want. They've also got things like the Infinity Ergo docks, which is that lovely split layout board with the nice thumb clusters. You've also got those little LED screens as well in the top corners, which is fantastic. And then also you've got the White Fox, Night Fox keyboards as well, the black and white versions of the Fox keyboards, which look great too. In terms of that, they've also got a number of group buys going on and all sorts of other stuff for keycap sets as well, so feel free to check them out. And they're also stocking a number of keys as well. Go check them out, guys.
Yep, and also just to note, the you can actually get the Kira now. They have some in stock. You can add the Kira 96 to your cart. Yeah, so that's very recent. So if you weren't a part of this group buy, Kickstarter, whatever it was, I think it was a Kickstarter actually, and you wanted to get one of these, you can get one now in various switch options. Got your 96 key. You know, you can get an aluminum version, plastic version, polycarbonate base. You got comes with PBT keycaps, hot swap, SMD, RGB, the works, all for under $200, which is good stuff there. Next we have the Beast in the East, Z Frontier, who is working on one of the new boards that we talked about earlier on the show today, the Morgrie Rie. Not sure if I pronounced that right. That sweet low profile, but also high profile, depending on how you look at it, keyboard, which has that wireless Bluetooth functionality for $115 with the KL low profile switches. Looks quite good, if I do say so myself. And, of course, as usual, they have lots of other things in stock, like the Aurora 96, and, why can't I get out of this picture? What the heck? Z Frontier, please. Oh my god. The site is, like, so oddly set up sometimes. But, they have lots of key sets in stock, of course, as usual. Lots of good things in stock, and, the JTK triple shots are still going on. So make sure you get in on those soon, because under $100 gets you ABS triple shot caps. Really looking forward to these, actually. More so than a lot of people realize. I think this is going to be a winner.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, what else we got, Jay? Last but not least.
Okay, and moving on to our last but not least, yeah, it is Zeal with Zeal PC and Zeal Generation. So Zeal's got all of the Zelios for your Felios. He's got all the new switches, Zelios V2, the Helios. You've got you know, all of that kind of good stuff, Telios as well. As well as that, he's also got the Zeno Group Buy still running, where you can get your full aluminium 75% board designed by Pona and run by Zeal from a factory perspective with your half plate or full plate. The boards look fantastic. The PCBs are absolutely stunning as well. And as well as that, he's also got his PCBs on there as well. The Zeal 60, Zeal 65, if they're still in stock, which I'm not sure if they are.
Zeal 60 is at least.
Zeal 60, yeah. As well as any stabilizers and anything else that you might, well, yeah, both in stock. So, and if you are going to order from Zeal PC, do consider using our affiliate link, which is zealpc.net/TopClack.
Heck yes. Because, you know, if you want to support TopClack,
yeah,
and you're buying from Zeal already, zealpc.net/TopClack helps us out a lot more than you think it does.
Yeah,
all right,
absolutely.
Guys. Let's move it on back to a Q&A. This has been a long show. We're already at the 2-hour mark, and we haven't even done the Q&A segment yet. So
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
I feel bad for you. I'm very sorry that I'm keeping you up this late. It's like 3 or 4 a.m. for Jay right now.
4 a.m. Yeah.
4 a.m.
4 a.m. right now.
So you know, Jay obviously probably very tired right now, but we appreciate you hanging in there for us. We had a very long news doc, so we're just going to jump right into the Q&A segment, guys. So if you guys have questions, we got answers. Make sure you use the @TopClack tag. Helps us see them a lot easier. Factory of Idols just subbed with Twitch Prime, so thank you very much for that. Appreciate the subs and the bits donated, guys. We see them. We see them.
Yeah. And Perna has just subscribed with Twitch Prime as well for 16 months in a row. Thank you very much.
Very nice. An OG sub. I believe that's the maximum amount. So,
is it still 16 or is it 17 yet?
Oh man, I don't know. I always say like that's the maximum amount. Then like someone like within minutes subs for like a longer amount. I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Oh yes, there is a giveaway. Sorry guys, we'll do that. We'll do that first. So we'll do that. Then we'll get into the Q&A. So while you guys get the questions in, Jay is gonna tell you the deets on the giveaway.
Yeah, so one of my good friends in the community is Martin. He helps me design a lot of my PCBs and plates for a lot of my projects. He's recently run a group buy that we covered on last week's show, which was a Plain60 PCB, which is a very bare bones PCB. It's very simple, designed to be just an elegant solution to your 60% needs. And he's kindly donated one of these PCBs to be given away on Clack. So what we've got is we've got a bit of a Google form. If you guys want to fill it out, there's a bit of a fun trivia question on there, and as long as you get that correct, which should be pretty easy if you can read, then we'll do an RNG giveaway just before next week's show. So Brian and I will pull a name hat with RNG, and we'll announce it on next week's show. So we'll close it maybe an hour before we start streaming next week. So we'll post a link in the Discord later on today. So straight after the show, we'll have that up in the announcements, and the Plain60 will be delivered to the lucky winner by the end of this month, hopefully.
Yep. So we really liked the way the Plain60 was looking. I think it's definitely something that the community's been needing, and you know,
absolutely,
we at Clack like to support that kind of stuff. So really cool that he was willing to let us give one away. So we're definitely happy about that, and shout out to him, Martin, for helping us out there.
Definitely, absolutely. Top work, Martin. Really appreciate you donating this board to us. He's run his group buy in really quick turnaround as well. Just to give all fair credit to him, the group buy ran 2 days before our show last week. He already has all of the boards ready, and they're shipping out on Monday. So you know he's turned it around really quickly. It was a small production run, but he's job.
Did you put the link in yet?
No, I haven't. I should have done that.
Okay, I was trying to look to see if you'd done that. Okay, we're putting the link in chat, guys. So you can join from this link. Like Jay mentioned, it'll be in the announcements channel of the Discord also after the show, if that's where you want to join. It'll also be in the description of the YouTube video once that's uploaded, the VOD. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there is that. All right. And then yeah, there is a link that you can check out all the projects by Martin and let him know how much you appreciate him for the cool stuff that he does.
Absolutely, and he's a really active member of the community, so if you guys want to reach out to him or ask him about anything, he's really approachable and really open to that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, heck yeah. So wow, we just missed a bunch of subs. Holy crap.
Oh wow, yeah, Gio with the gifting 5 tier 1 subs.
Holy
wow,
crap.
Thank you very much, Gio.
Thank you.
That's 45 in total now.
Yeah,
wow.
Gio's getting up there. Holy crap on those donated subs. Appreciate that, my man. Mwalik also subbed with a tier 1 sub for 7 months in a row. Thank you very much for that. So yeah, make sure you join this giveaway, guys, and we'll hop into our Q&A now as well. So if you guys have questions, like I said, we got answers, hopefully. I guess it depends on the question. Use the @TopClack tag and hit us up. Let us know what you guys are thinking. Absolutely,
yeah, we're here for your needs. Talisman, I've just noticed you've mentioned we've missed the gift subs. Now we've just caught Geo's. If there's been any more, I apologize. I'm scrolling back now to see.
Oh, was there more? I don't know.
Same with missed stuff, so I'm trying to catch up to see if we have.
Sometimes Twitch just like doesn't like show some stuff.
Yeah, I can't. It only lets me go so far.
Yeah, and it cuts it off at I think 15 minutes past.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes Twitch chat and notifications are just kind of broken. So we definitely apologize for that, but hopefully we get as many as we can. We read off as many as we can, because I know you donate a lot of bits, and I know you gift a lot of subs, Talisman. So we definitely appreciate that very much. I gave one on eating cereal this month already.
Oh man!
Don't go broke, man! Don't go broke. All right, so starting us off with our Q&A, we already got a couple questions rolling in. The Minderon asking, have you tried Jailhouse Blues? And if so, what are your thoughts on the different methods? O-ring, 22 AWG wire, J-spacers, etc. So how do we feel about Jailhouse Blues, Jay? Have you used them yet?
Yeah, I have. I've used two versions. I've used the O-ring version and J-spacers. If I'm honest, I prefer the J-spacer solution. I think it's a little bit neater, a little bit more consistent. In terms of how I feel about the switches, I'm not sure they're for me. I probably wouldn't use them on a regular basis, personally. But if you're going to use them, my vote goes for the J-spacers.
Yeah, I have tried them. I think I've only tried them with the J-spacers. I am not a fan of Jailhouse Blues. I think they feel really awkward. The tactility is a little bit too sharp and abrupt for me. I don't really like how that feels, so I don't really use them. Because I don't really like them. But a lot of people do, so is what it is.
Absolutely. And the next question comes from Not Zesty Salsa. It says, I was AFK and come back to... Oh, it's not a question. He's saying thanks to...
I do that all the time. Because like I see the tag and I'm like, oh, this next question. And then it's like not even a question.
Yeah, it's
I'm
not
like,
a question. Well, either way, thank you for the support, Not Zesty Salsa. We really appreciate it, man. Absolutely. And the Sweaty Yeti with the bits as well. Thank you very much for those, dude.
Heck yeah. Thank you, Sweaty Yeti. I think that's about 250 bits or so. So we definitely appreciate that. And he has, I don't know if it's just recently, but he has a new cheer badge. He has officially donated 10,000 or more bits.
Nice.
Holy crap. That is a lot of bits. He donates a lot.
Huge amount.
So thank you so much for that. We definitely appreciate it, man. You are
he's just done another 200 odd as well. Thank you, dude. We really appreciate it, man. Really appreciate it.
Don't make me cry. I'm not going to cry on today's episode, guys. Mog Genius with the next question. I think it might be a question, maybe it's not. It says, I just caught the beginning of today's video. I asked Wei if there would be a round 2 of the Fusion, and he said there will be, but they will not be partnering with Vulcan to do it. Interesting. I asked again just to clarify, and he said it is absolutely the round 2 Fusion. He also confirmed he is working on a 60% version of the KBD67, which is also a very cool note. So, not a question, but definitely thank you for that information.
Yeah.
Not partnering with Vulcan to do the round 2. I wonder what happened there.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if he's bought the design out from Vulcan, or if Vulcan's just handed it over to him, or what. That's interesting.
Yeah, hopefully it's.
I'm surprised at that.
Yeah, hopefully it's a scenario where it's positive and respectable and in the interest of both parties. We can only hope. Yeah,
absolutely.
But a 60% version of the KBD67, which would be really cool. I'd be interested in that because I actually like the design of the KBD67.
Oh, for sure. For 2018, it's my budget board of the year is the KBD67 because I think it's a fantastic board at a great price and the quality is outstanding on it. So yeah, absolutely. If they're going to do a 60% version of that, that's superb. I'm really down for that. Oh, and whoa. So sorry, I'm just all of the subs just popped up on my screen. So we've got a Tectonic Plate with a tier 1 sub saying 5 months in a row. Thank you very much for that, man. I've just got a whole lot of notifications for that. JER with another series of GIF subs.
Donates 5 more.
Is that 5 more? 5 more? Wow.
Yeah, he just hit the 50 mark. Thank you very much, JER. We appreciate that, man.
Thanks, JER. Appreciate it, dude.
I wonder if he might be the most gifted subs might be from JER. Also, J Chef donates 100 bits. Thank you, my friend. And Mountain Blocks donates 600 bits. So you guys are going hard today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
See, all I had to do was bring on a British co-host, and people donate now.
It's because they're impressed that I'm staying up so late, and it's 10 past 4 in the morning, and I'm still here. Yeah.
The things we sometimes do for Top Clack, man. The things we sometimes do. All right, let's get back to a couple of the questions. Rival asking, brand new to custom keyboards, do you guys have a YouTube video on just introductory things to mechanical keyboards? I have a stock code keyboard with clears and love a tactile feel. We have a YouTube channel, which is linked below the stream. We don't have a lot of introductory videos at the moment, but I am working on a couple different series which will help to kind of get people into custom keyboards a little bit easier. make it a little bit more accessible, and make it just kind of a breakdown of, you know, some good information and basic things that a lot of us more experienced or advanced users kind of take for granted. The barrier of entry can be a little difficult, can be a little overwhelming, so I totally get where you're coming from on that, and we will definitely be putting out content in the near future to kind of get you more into the door, and it'll hopefully go over very well.
It might be worthwhile checking out our build streams as well. So both Brian and I do build streams of keyboards as well, so you can see how we put them together, how we take a kit and start from scratch, and all the steps we go through to take a kit and end up with a fully working product as well, and on all of that good kind of content. So feel free to check those out. Feel free to come and join the Discord. We've got a Discord server as well. I'm sure one of the mods will pop the link in the chat for you to join there.
It's located below the stream.
Yeah, cool. There's all sorts of chat constantly ongoing in there, and if you've got any problems or questions, there's a ton of people who are always happy to help out, Brian and myself included as well. So yeah, feel free to come and join the community.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely try to do our best to help out wherever we can. So YouTube and Discord linked below. We have a mech support channel there in case you have any questions about anything. We're always talking about keyboards and other things there. We try to always be around as often as we can to help. So hopefully that'll help. And like I said, we'll have videos coming out in the very near future that'll kind of help break that barrier of entry. But like Jay mentioned, build streams, huge, very, very good. We have we upload all the VODs on YouTube. So you know, every episode of Top Clack like this, and every build stream as well. So lots of information to kind of go through there if you're ever curious. And on every episode of Top Clack, every Thursday episode like we're doing right now, we do a Q&A at the end. Every single time. So if you ever have questions about anything, you know, we're always here to try to help.
Yeah, absolutely. And going forwards, we're going to try and, or I'm going to try and do a build stream nearly every week going over the course of this year. So the only week that I have planned where I won't be doing a build stream is this week. But every Sunday, 8 PM UK time, early afternoon in the US, depending on where you are, I'll be doing a build stream of a different board every week as well. So feel free to check those out.
Yep, and I have several build streams coming up as well. I was thinking about doing one tonight. I'm not 100% sure anymore because the last couple hours I've really started to feel pretty sick. So I might not do one tonight, which is a bummer because I really wanted to. I might hopefully do one tomorrow. I have several things to get to that like I really need to get to. So definitely build streams coming out of myself and Jay in the coming days, and you know, we're working out the 24-hour stream too, guys. So yeah,
we've started talking about it.
Look forward to that. It's happening.
Yeah,
it's happening. All right, sorry guys, trying to get back to these questions. Osatepo, I think is how you pronounce that, is asking, what's the latest on retooled box switches still damaging caps? There's a lot of chatter, but I haven't seen anything concrete. That's because it mostly is just chatter, not concrete. Of course, there's going to be some non-believers out there. The only things I've really seen, as far as negative issues on the retooled box stems, is like one or two guys on Geekhack using really obscure caps. Like one guy had like really like vintage like cherry stuff, like not like new GMK or SA or Enjoy PBT or anything, but he had trouble with like some set of like really obscure vintage cherry caps, and he's like, there were stress fractures here, but that's like mostly all I've seen. Everyone else seems to be totally okay with them. So
yeah, I think you're right. I think it's mostly just chatter. I haven't seen any concrete evidence that modern keycaps from GMK, EPBT, SA, anything has actually been damaged by the revised box key switches. So yeah, I think I'm broadly comfortable to say that they're okay now.
Yeah, absolutely. No more tags. No question. Not a whole lot of questions tonight. It looks like.
I see a couple more that we've answered. So Snipsy11 has said best lube for Helios. So I just lubed some Helios last week. I tried Crotux 106 on them. That worked really well. Nice and smooth stock switch. And I find that an oil works better for something that's already smooth, whereas a grease works better for something that tends to be a bit rougher. I don't know if you find the same, Brian, or if you have a different view.
I really liked 205 grade 0 on my Helios. I think as far as stuff like silent linears go, like the Helios, I think that thicker loops tend to work better because they cancel out more noise, And silent switches kind of have a reputation for being a little bit scratchier than their non-silent brethren to begin with. And I think the extra viscosity on the thicker lubes like 205 grade 0 or even something like Tribusys 3204 tend to kind of lend themselves better to the silent switches. So 205 grade 0, definitely not my favorite lube, but probably my favorite lube for Helios.
Interesting. Cool.
Tikamon is asking me what configuration I got with my Leaf 60. So I'm a cheapskate. I like value. I like to keep things simple. I wanted to keep that minimum price as much as I could, so I didn't get any upgrades, no brass parts or anything. I went with the E-coating white for the body and the E-coating black for the weight, quote unquote weight. I call it an accent because it's not adding any weight. That would have otherwise been there. And then I got a black polycarb plate, because I knew I wanted a polycarb plate. I wrestled with my configuration in my head for a very long time. Took me like 2 hours to figure out exactly what I wanted. So that's the configuration I settled on. I kind of wanted a white and black Stormtrooper kind of effect. I wanted to see how the E-coating would be, because I don't have anything with the E-coating yet. So I wanted to see how the white and the black would look, so I made sure to get both of those. And black polycarbonate, also pretty new. So I wanted to get a black polycarb plate. So hitting a bunch of new things for the minimum price.
I'm excited to see what you think of it when it comes out and when you get hold of the board. I'm really excited to see that.
Same.
Not Zesty Salsa asks us a question, but it didn't quite tag us. He says, I've been seeing a lot of high-res orange build or high-res orange builds showing up. Is there something going on with those switches? So I've seen 2 builds in the past couple of weeks. One of them was actually done on one of my previous streams on my old channel with a friend of mine called James, where we built a 96 key, sorry, not a 96 key keyboard, sorry, it was a UK 78 keyboard, which is kind of a 60% and numpad board, all rolled into one, and we did that full of high-res switches. So I don't think there's anything particular going on. They're quite expensive. They're a bit of a meme within the community for people to use to build with them, but they're quite interesting. They're very, very smooth as a stock linear. They're just quite rare and difficult to get hold of. So I don't think there's anything particular going on with them, but you tend to see them come around and float up and down in popularity as people come into and out of the community. So you will see more boards with them, but sometimes you have a big gap before you see another board pop up.
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce that username, I'm sorry. Kunstfeller says 24-hour stream, 24 hours of lubing. No, there might be some lubing involved, but like we want to keep things interesting. We know as well as everyone else, it's not exactly exciting to watch lubing for hours. It's really not. So ideally, we'll have a little bit more going on in our 24-hour stream. Maybe we'll have a breakdown, a schedule. We'll have myself, Jay. Maybe we'll have some other people come in and out just to kind of spice things up. Maybe we'll have we'll probably have some giveaways, I imagine. Lots of things going on. It'll be 24 hours of really interesting stuff.
Yeah, it should be really good fun. Brian and I have been having a bit of a chat about it. We've got some good ideas for it, how we can keep it engaging and how we can do handoffs between the two of us and things like that. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it, and it's definitely going to happen soon. .tm.
Yep. Vaminderon asking, unrelated to keyboards, but favorite single malt whiskey?
Glenlivet.
Let me just bring up my whiskey doc real quick. Hold on.
Easy one for me. Glenlivet.
Glenlivet's all right.
What do you mean it's all right?
It's all right.
Their 18-year-old single malt is absolutely stunning.
It's good. It's good. It doesn't blow me away. It's good. I've had the 18-year. I've had the 12. I think that's the only 2 Glenlivet I've had.
Okay.
I have a whiskey doc that is not even completed. Give me a second. My favorite single malt is apparently... I have them rated, sorry. My favorite single malt scotch is 14-year Oban right now. That's currently my favorite scotch. But I actually don't... I used to drink a lot of scotch, but then I started finding I liked most other whiskeys better than scotch. So I've been drinking a lot of rye.
Really?
I like rye a lot more. I like bourbon more. I like Irish. And I like a lot of the other American ones. You know, things from Tennessee, from Oregon, from Texas. Actually, I had a really good whiskey recently made in Texas, called Swift, and that's technically a single malt. It's not a Scotch, but it's a single malt, and I really like that. So that's probably my favorite single malt whiskey right now. As far as my favorite overall whiskey, it's called Blanton's. It's a bourbon. It's unbelievably good.
Yeah, I'm not too much of a fan of a bourbon. I definitely prefer a single malt to a bourbon, but yeah.
Yeah,
different strokes for different folks. We all like different stuff.
When I first got into whiskey, I was all about Scotch, and then over the last like 2 years or so, I've really transitioned into bourbon and rye being my front runners. One of the few things I think America does right. Yeah. Anyways, I won't talk too much about whiskey because I could talk about whiskey for a long time.
Whiskey stream when?
For real. San289 forgets to tag us, but he does ask, what's the best lube for Topra, and where would I be able to get it in Canada? Best lube is almost always going to be a preference. You know, it's just, you know, what I prefer, what Jay prefers, what other person prefers, what a random bystander prefers. You know, like, it's hard to say, like, this is the best. Like, use this. You have to use this. Because that's just not really how lubing works. That's not really how this hobby generally tends to work in general. But
you could do something that I like or something that Brian likes that could feel completely different to you, and you might like something completely separate. You might absolutely detest what we do, and you know, it's very, very much down to the individual.
Yep. I will say that I think Tribusys 3203 is probably going to be a really... I haven't used it on Topra yet, so disclosure there. But I am about to use it on Topra. That's what I will be using to lube my Norba Force, which is my next build, my next personal build that I'm doing on stream. And I think 3203 is a really nice balance. It applies super easily. It feels kind of like a mix. It feels kind of like a hybrid between you know, an oil and a grease. It doesn't feel too thick, which I really like. And it does a good job at covering up friction and inconsistencies. So my go-to would be Tribusys 3203. Where you can get it in Canada, I'm not really sure. You can get it at switchmod.net, and I imagine he ships international. You know, it might cost you $10 in shipping, but you know, you'll still get it. So that's
I think Krelbit's taking a break at the minute. Though I think he's back at school or something, so I think he's taking a break. So shipping might take a little bit longer than normal at the minute.
Yeah, I don't know where else stocks 3203. 3204 also might work really well for you, and that's a lot more accessible. A lot more vendors stock that. I know ZealPC.net has some. It's a little expensive, but he is Canadian based. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the other vendors stock. I don't know any other Canadian vendors that stock it off the top of my head, unfortunately. Maybe you can ask around in the Top Clack Discord. Other people might have some good answers for you.
Yeah.
Not Zesty Salsa asks, do you think that custom keyboards are headed towards more of a mainstream market? And if so, do you think the community will like that change? That's interesting. Interesting thought.
Yeah, so my first thought on this, that well, it's twofold, and I think you can answer both parts with one answer. So as the community grows larger, the keyboards become more mainstream. And as that happens, it's not about whether the community likes the change or not, because the community is going to change. And what you'll end up with is you'll probably end up with pockets of niches that like different types of things, whilst you have a wider community around that as well. So as the community changes, that will just become the community. And in terms of people that like it or dislike it, you'll always have some that sit on either side of the fence, but that'll be diluted by the size of the community overall. And you'll tend to have little pockets and little niches of people that like certain different things and have certain specialities. So people that like vintage stuff, and people that like gasket mount boards, and people that like Korean customs and all of that, which we kind of have today. So I think it would just expand on all of those things. In terms of is it a good thing? I think absolutely. The bigger the community, the better. It's a great hobby to be in. I love it. Brian loves it. We wouldn't be here if we didn't. So I'm absolutely all for it. And I think it is getting bigger, and the bigger we can get, the better.
Yeah, I think it might be a little bit presumptuous to say, but I would argue that as far as custom keyboards go in our hobby, it already is mainstream. Look at what KBDfans has accomplished in the last year. You can get custom kits and parts for so cheap that the people that would normally buy an OEM keyboard that have like a fairly limited budget can get custom keyboards now, and they're learning how to, you know, build keyboards and, you know, lube stabilizers and switches and, you know, solder and use hot swaps, and like they're learning different types between this and that. It's become a really big deal in the last year or two. It's so much more accessible than it used to be. We have group buys. Sure. We have group buys running for custom boards, you know, multiple per week. Like, it's so easy to enter the custom community nowadays than it was, you know, 4, 5, 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm. I agree on that. Yeah, for sure. I think in terms of, I'm not quite sure mainstream is the right word. I think in terms of the population, it's definitely expanding and definitely growing. Yeah. And you're absolutely right on vendors like KeyboardFans, you know, turning it up a notch and absolutely going all out. And I think it's all great to see. And you know, I don't see any signs of it slowing down at the minute. I see more signs of the community growing than shrinking. So, yeah, I'm all for all that. Bring it on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's only going to get more accessible. You know, everything's only going to get better as we grow, and as we get more competition, and as we get you know, more orders for things, we can get lower prices on things. Is generally how it works. So really looking forward to that. I think we are only going to go up from here.
Absolutely, yeah. There's only one direction to go.
Yeah. Drink Dog is asking, would Crytox GPL 205 be good in Holy Jesus switches? What would you recommend? Difficult to find lube in Canada. All right, so we have another Canadian looking for some lube options. So when you say Crytox GPL 205, you can mean multiple things. So there's different grades of Crytox 205. Grade 0 is what we see a lot in this community because it's relatively thick, but it's the thinnest of the 205. And I would say it's probably as thick as you'd ever want to go. So I would recommend not using 205 grade 1 or higher, personally. I think it might really negatively affect how your Switch feels. And when you're using something like a Holy Jesus, where you got a lot of tactility there, that does have a lot of tactility, and it's not necessarily easy to cover that up per se, but the thicker lube you go and the more lube you use, you definitely start to run the risk of hindering that tactility a lot. So I personally would not use 205, even grade 0 in Holy Jesus. I would use something thinner. Maybe a slightly thicker oil like GPL 105 or 106. Tribassist 3203, like I mentioned earlier, would probably be a front runner for me. I might go 3204 Tribassist. That might start borderlining on too thick for me personally in terms of Holy Jesus, but could just be me. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I've got some 3204 and some Holy Pandas, and I've also got some 106. For me, 106 feels nicer. It's more of an oil than a grease. I wouldn't risk using something like 205 grade 0 in something as highly tactile as that. But if you do use it, I'm sure you can get a nice feeling switch with it. I would very much err on the side of caution, use very thin layer. It's always easier to add more lube later than it is to take lube away when you put it onto the switch. So rather than oversaturate the switch, go very delicate, or very light amount, and just keep trying it until you get to that switch away.
Yep, absolutely agree. And as far as your location in Canada, it's tough. Ask around in the Top Clack Discord link below. I don't know any Canadian vendors off the top of my head that sell a lot of lube, but a lot of the US vendors and other vendors in general will ship to Canada.
It sounds like there is a gap in the community for a Canadian lube vendor, though, right now. I mean, yeah, proving anything today, it's proving that that someone needs to step up. Maybe fancy a job as a lube vendor.
Yeah, exactly. we need a Canadian to step up and be a lube proxy. Zeal does stock a couple lubes. I think he has 3204 and maybe like 205 grade 0. I don't know if he has 3203, but admittedly, it's kind of expensive at his store. But it is Canada, and his shipping is amazing. So, you know, it could be trade-offs depending on what else you're ordering and, you know, what everything means to you. Mountain Block says whiskey hour on the 24-hour stream. Maybe.
We could do that. We could do that.
Maybe not an hour. Maybe. An hour seems excessive for a keyboard stream to talk about whiskey. But,
I don't know. Well, it depends on how you do it. We could split it up into like 4 15-minute segments.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll plan it out. There will be like at least a rough schedule of things that'll go on. It'll be fun. We'll try to get some activities going, include chat. I would like to have several giveaways as well, just throughout. I think that could be pretty fun. Like maybe nothing extreme, because we know people aren't going to sit there and watch all 24 hours of the stream. Like that's like almost no one, if anyone, is going to be there the entire time. So we don't like to make things too unfair, but it'd be fun to have like small giveaways throughout. Anyways, sorry about that trail off. Let's go back to the question. We still have a few. And
so Snipsy11 says, is it worth breaking in switches before lubing them? Does it make a difference if they're broken in before they are lubed versus after? Personally, I like to break my switches in if I can. So I will definitely do this on something like retail blacks or something like that. I'll break them in by using them in a hot swap board for a week or so with medium to heavy usage. I'll then strip them, clean them in the ultrasonic cleaner, and then lube them. And I find that is much smoother than just lubing the stock standard switch as it comes out of the bag from the vendor.
Yeah.
I tend not to do it with tactiles. I think there's less benefits gained from tactiles, but with linears, yeah, I would break it first.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I think in short, yes, breaking in switches is almost always beneficial in my opinion. The only time I don't really do it is I don't do it with Zeal switches, because they're already like really smooth that you don't really get much benefit from a break-in. But on something like a retooled black from Cherry, definitely the difference is monumental. It's not insignificant at all. It's huge. So definitely my preference for some switches. It's switch by switch basis, but generally speaking, yes, breaking in switches is good. Not Zesty Salsa asking, or at least saying, I think that it's going to depend on vendors, to be honest. The community can only do so much to grow besides word of mouth, but GBs are quite overwhelming to a newbie. Yeah, so I think he's referencing when we were talking about the kind of barrier of entry discussion.
Yeah, he carries on to say, if vendors take advantage on the growth and raise prices or expand too much and the quality goes down, it's only going to hurt the original members. Whilst I agree with that sentiment, what we're actually seeing in reality is that prices are coming down and quality is going up. So if you take Keyboard Fans, for example, the quality of the last couple of boards that they've put out has been far better than some of their early stuff, even earlier last year. So if you took the first half of 2018 and the second half of 2018, there's a massive difference in quality of what's coming out of what's seen as a relatively cheap and accessible vendor within the community. So I absolutely think that's whilst that is a risk, I think it's not something we're seeing in practice right now.
Yep. Totally agree. Sandu89 says, I hope more vendors start carrying stock of things as opposed to only relying on group buys, especially for keycaps. Yeah, I mean... Yeah,
we were saying the same thing about white on black and black on white. Absolutely. If there's a vendor out there that can stock, some basic sets like that, it'd be fantastic. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Could you imagine just, going to a store and being like, I want a GMK set, and not waiting 5 months?
Yeah,
could you imagine that world?
Well, you can do it. You can right now. You can go on Master. You can buy white on black, and you can have it shipped to you the next day.
I already did.
Yeah, I might do it right now.
All right, but yeah, no, I think there's definitely a market, and I mean, we're already seeing people trying to move towards that. Vendors like Z Frontier do have some GMK and JTK and SA and DSA sets in stock. But, usually it's extra stock after group buys. We don't really see just stocking keycap sets very often. People like Originative have been trying to make a really bold move and launch what they're calling Type Machina, where they just have in stock, really high-end custom group buy boards just in stock. But, that's been very slow going, and it's kind of seen ups and downs. So it's tough to do. Usually requires a lot of money.
Not as it sells has come back and said, I also think that for big growth, custom keyboards need to have an IC and then go straight to manufacturing without the whole group buy months of turnaround. And as Brian was just mentioning there, the money side of it is kind of the issue. So these group buys are run by people like you and me. They're just members of the community. A lot of the time, they don't have big budgets behind them. They don't have a company behind them to be able to fund this up front. And group buys are expensive. You know, there's not massive profits on most group buys. It's maybe 5 or 10% as a bit of a risk cost for a lot of group buys where I've spoken to runners. So when you think about the volumes that are involved, if you've got 100 boards at $200 a piece, then or $300, $400, $500 a piece, even in some cases, that's an awful lot of money to have to back up yourself if you wanted to advance. And that's the reason why we do group buys as a community. It allows us all to get a bit of a price break, to get a unique product. It just means you have to wait a little bit. So unless we start to get some major manufacturers in, such as Massdrop, where they have that financial backing and that stability to be able to do it, I think group buys are going to be the way forward for a lot of things going forwards.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, random users like us, we don't have, you know, tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars to front for a group buy, which is why group buys exist. But you know, multi-million-dollar companies like Massdrop, they are a multi-million-dollar company. They can afford to do that kind of stuff. So, yeah. That's kind of the way our community is moving, which is nice, because, you know, a lot of our more established vendors that have been around for a while and are doing really cool things are starting to have that wallet
capability.
They have the resources to do stuff like that now, which is really cool. All right, I think we are actually caught up on questions. People were correcting me on saying grade 0 was the thinnest of the 205, but I am apparently wrong. There are grades 00 and 000, so I apologize for that, guys. I did not do my diligent research, apparently.
No, you can get them, but I've not seen them on offer much. I think I've got some grade 0 and some grade 00, but I've not tried the 00 yet. So,
gotcha. All right, let's take one more question before we head off, because we are over the 2.5 hour mark, which is a little longer than it needs to be. Vimindaron is asking, why is Top Clack in the science and technology category on Twitch? Because that was the best compromise I could think of. I don't know if there's a hobbies category. I don't remember seeing one. I know for a while I was using makers and crafting, which I often switch to that for build streams usually, and I keep the main show at science and technology. But I don't know. I don't really know what like the best category is for Twitch for what we do specifically.
Yeah, I'll be honest. So when I did my old streams before I joined Top Clack, I kind of flitted around between the creative side of Twitch on the Mako channels to the hobbies one and to the science and technology one, and I found that more people found and were interested in what I was doing on stream in the science and technology category than they were in the other ones as well. A lot of the other ones tend to be more artsy and craftsy rather than, you know, something that is technology based. So for me, I think science and technology is the right fit right now for where we are. A lot of people in the science and technology place are looking at streams. They're kind of looking for content that's around technology, and that's kind of what keyboards are. You know, they're an input device to all of our new technologies, PCs, desktops, iPads, all that kind of stuff we're using for now. So I think for me, that's where it fits.
Yep. That's what I agree at the moment as well. Alright, so that looks like we are fully caught up. So before this gets even longer, that was going to do it for today. We got to let Jay get to bed. And I need to get some food.
4:35 a.m.
Yeah, we got some life stuff to do. Yeah, Jay works tomorrow. We're criminals for keeping him up. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching the episode this week. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, linked below, and join our Discord, also linked below. You can hang out with us and ask us questions, and you know, there's something for everyone there. We can talk about keyboards all the time, and talk about other stuff. We game. A really good time. A lot of really good people there to help you out when you need it. And of course, we will be back next week, same time, same place, Thursdays, 6 p.m. Pacific time, as always, for our main show. I will hopefully have a build stream coming tomorrow. As long as I don't feel like throwing up tomorrow night, I'm doing a build stream. It's going to be great. Maybe I'll even throw up on stream. Really added effect there. It'll be fantastic. Mountain Blocks,
I'll be watching if you do it.
Yeah, I'll try to time it for you. Mountain Blocks donates another 100 bits. Thank you very much, man. Thank you all to all of you that have subbed today and donated bits and gifted subs and everything. You guys are amazing, and you guys really help Top Clack do the kind of stuff that we do, and we have a lot of really cool things coming, guys. Seriously.
Yeah, we really appreciate the support. It's fantastic for both Brian and I to see that. You know, it makes us really happy that the community wants to support us to do well. And as Brian says, we've got a ton of stuff coming pipeline as well.
Yeah, we got really cool things coming, honestly. So be on the lookout, and thank you all for watching. We'll catch you next time.
Yeah, cheers, guys.